Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
And also with us today, special guest Gil Martin of Locked On Islanders, a daily Islanders podcast. Welcome, Gil.
Thank you. Good to be here, guys. Enjoy your show very much, and it's good to get to spend some time talking Isles hockey with you.
Talking a little shop. Oh, my goodness. Obviously, big news. We're still going to be talking today about that Bo Horvat trade. But before we get too hot and heavy and into things here, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is a twice a week All Islanders podcast that takes place every single Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. We also have a secondary podcast, an all sports podcast that takes place every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Again, that is an all sports podcast that takes place Thursdays and Sundays. We talk anything and everything sports. We talk NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, anything and everything sports, as always. And Grumpy loves our little logo here, how TJ is so pronounced and large, while the Grumpy Old Man is just a little tiny script at the end.
And I just want to let everyone know that Son X will be making his first appearance on the show tomorrow. And I wonder what we're going to be talking about.
What, Grumpy? That's right. Dude, Grumpy, this has been a week filled with losses for you, Grumpy. That's right, because Tom Brady retired today.
The hero of the people retired today, and he will stay retired. He will stay retired.
Man, oh man, he will stay retired.
And this is with Son X on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show. I predict nothing but mental torture and anguish for TJ.
You don't like to hear that. I don't like to hear that. But we mentioned earlier, Gil Martin. He does, and he has that podcast, Locked On Islanders podcast.
Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor? Can you put a little space in between Gil and Martin as opposed to Gil Martin?
Hold on, Grumpy. Am I saying it? Am I not putting a space in there? Gil Martin.
No, you're not. You're like, oh, and Gil Martin.
It's like saying it like that. Oh man. Anyway, you could find, again, Locked On Islanders podcast pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts. You find them on Twitter. You could find them on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and that's a way where you could say, I have myself content every single day. I have Islanders content or audio content for Islanders every single day. I don't, Gil, how do you do it every single day, a podcast on the Islanders?
Well, there's usually, I mean, the show usually goes about a half hour, so there's always something to talk about. The hard part was when the pandemic hit and there was no hockey at all for 3 months. Still finding a way to get shows out every day for that, but there's always something to talk about with the Islanders. This team is many things, but there's always something going on.
That's for certain. That's for certain. Grumpy, let me ask you, has your opinion changed much since the last time we jumped on live, I guess, Monday?
What was my opinion? What was my opinion on Monday? I can't remember back that far.
I can't even remember.
I think it was that I like the player, but I don't like the direction. I don't like what it says about what the direction of the team is. I think that's what I said. And for me, and I like Bo Horvat. Love him. As you know, anyone who listens to the show knows I like Bo Horvat. I didn't want to give a first-round draft pick. I could have lived with, moving Beauvillier and even Raty if we had to, even though I was opposed to that. But I didn't want to give up first-round draft pick. Regardless, I don't care where it is. I didn't want to give up that first-round draft pick because we have no forwards now in the system. None. Not a one. We do not have one forward in our system who could even remotely possibly play in the NHL. None.
You're talking about a forward prospect, just to be clear.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Not one. I mean, because I don't count William DeFore because he can't skate.
Yeah.
Until you can skate, you can't play in that league. Well, Anders Lee can, but most people, you have to be able to skate to play in the NHL. And he's not a great skater, right? So we have no one. And it's like, is that enough? Is that trade for Bo Horvat, is that going to be enough for Lou Lamoriello to say, we're cup contenders?
No.
Okay. Well, if it's not, I don't know where you go from here. I cannot imagine him decimating the draft stockpile further. For the life of me, I cannot understand that.
Get ready for it. But Gil, I want to get your opinion on what you think about the trade, what you think about, the direction, kind of what your take is on this. Because just for a recap, for those who were living under a rock or didn't have internet access for the last 2 days, Bo Horvat was traded from the Vancouver Canucks to the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders, or the Vancouver Canucks, retained 25% of his cap hit, and the Islanders went ahead and traded away Anthony Beauvillier, Aatu Raty, and a top 12 protected 2023 first-round pick.
Yeah, it shows me that Lou Lamoriello is definitely all in for now, but it definitely raises a lot of concerns for the future. I mean, they have now traded away their last 4 first-round picks, and that eventually does come back to bite you. And already before this trade, the Islanders were ranked by The Athletic as the 27th best prospect pool in the league. But their number 1 prospect was Aatu Raty. He's gone. You're not going to have a first-round pick again this year. That number just went down from 27, and there's not too much more. It could go, lower than 27 out of 32 teams. So it's a concern. And it's almost like, does the trade make them better right now? Yes. If they don't re-sign Bo Horvat, did they, way overpay? And is that a real problem for this team? Absolutely. And I am concerned about the long-term ability of this team to, where is it going to be in 2028, for example? That to me is a big concern.
Well, Gil, you don't have to worry about things like that. I mean, all we need to worry about is us winning a cup this year because we're cup contenders. Don't worry about what the team looks like in the future. I've been told by some fans, I've been told by others who've been on the show before in the past, don't worry what the future has to hold. We could just continue to rebuild on the fly. Every 3 years, we can do these modified retools, just like Lou's doing now. And we can get guys like Bo Horvat and sign them long. We're going to sign them long term too. We can get guys like Bo Horvat and sign them long term, and it's going to allow us to retool on the fly.
But to retool to what? To retool to what? An 8th place playoff seed to get rolled by the number 1 seed? Because that's all this is going to do. If we manage to make the playoffs, and Buffalo's doing their best part, I know they have 3 games in hand, but they're playing Carolina tonight. Carolina's really good. I think maybe we better hope that we get to play Boston if we make the playoffs, because Carolina just going to chew us up, spit us out, and just wipe our remains off the bottom of their shoes. Carolina's just too good for us, as is Boston. But Boston plays stylistically a lot like we do. We can keep the game close. But Carolina, no shot. Just 0 chance of beating Carolina. So, I mean, I just, for me, the frustration is we still had a chance with moving off our pending UFAs and maybe a piece like Nelson to kind of that. To me, that's a retool on the fly by getting a young piece and then reloading your cupboards with young prospects. That's gone. That's absolutely gone now. And it's so obvious that he's not even considering that, right? Not even a consideration for him. Let's say things go in the wrong direction and we wind up picking 13th, or Vancouver picks 13th. We have no draft picks, and Bo Horvat doesn't re-sign back. Now, I think he will re-sign back because I think that we have to re-sign him. So I think he's going to get probably a contract above market.
Gotta love that.
And I think that he'll be here for the foreseeable future. But what does it mean? You have no one to backfill around him. You have Anders Lee's finished for the most part. Brock Nelson's on the downside. Josh Bailey, done. Kyle Palmieri on the downside. The whole 4th line, except for Casey, on the downside, finished. It's like, and who are you going to put in there? You're just going to sign Hudson Fashings every year and hope you get lucky? I mean, to me, it's like, where are you going from here? All right, maybe the old man, it's his last year. He's like, maybe, I'm just going to double and triple down on this team that's just, let's be honest, not very good. I mean, to me, I'm just disappointed. It's just disappointing because he obviously doesn't care about what his main job is to keep the team sustainable for the future, not just the immediate.
Well, I said on my podcast, and I'll say it again now, the one thing you don't want to do in the NHL is to be pretty good. You either want to be a legitimate contender or you want to tank for Bedard so that you can get those high draft picks and get those generational type of players that come along. And if you stink for 2 or 3 years and you put together 3 solid drafts, that's how you become a good team. And then you supplement it with the odd free agent and trade and build a real long-term contender. What I think Lou Lamoriello is trying to do now is sort of sneak into the playoffs as the 7th or 8th seed. And then just like they did 2 years ago and 3 years ago, get hot and go on a long run, which is going to be heavily dependent on Ilya Sorokin and winning a lot of games 2-1 and 3-2. But it's not a formula for long-term success. It's a formula for long-term mediocrity at best. And then when everybody gets old and you have no prospects left, then you're forced to do a rebuild. And, it does potentially set up a lot of problems.
I'd argue we're already old in our forward group. Average age of the forward.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have guys like Parise who bring the average age up. But the average age of the forward group after this trade is 30.8 years old. Average age is about I'm just going to round it up and say about 31 years old is the average age of our forward. Do we think guys that are average age of 31 years old are going to be continuing to rev up and play even more competitive hockey for the last 30 games of the stretch? Or do we maybe think that they might have an accumulation of bumps and bruises that may start to take their toll? They're not spring chickens, and we talk about what it looks like afterwards after this. I won't even call it a renaissance, but what was a renaissance, I guess, started 5 years ago. That's starting to look like the dark times are ahead. It's going to be ugly.
You want to know something? You know what I hear in the distance? The tornado alarms. Whee! Everyone get underground. Tornado's getting ready to sweep the franchise away. You know what? And here's what we're going to see from the dog line. And I call the dog line Croc Nelson, Average Anders Lee, and the F- Kyle Palmieri. You're going to see them perform for the next number of weeks, so we can all get the false sense of security on beating up on some lesser teams and going into the to the trade deadline. We say, you know what? Let's even throw more of whatever we have into the hopper and see if we come up with somebody else. And then as soon as the trade deadline's over, you're going to see what you normally see from Anders Lee and the gang. They're just going to go back to being miserably bad like they've been, for most of the last few years. I mean, we saw it last year. Because if anything, the cul-de-sac crew absolutely wants to keep everybody here. They don't want anybody leaving. And to me, it's frustrating. I just, it didn't bother me to lose Anthony Beauvillier. Didn't even really super bother me to lose Ratu, even though I wanted to. It was the first round pick. And even more important for me, it's obvious with this regime, this is going to be the way they're going to do it. As long as Lamoriello is somehow involved, and if Fredo comes in next year, you're going to see the same thing, because believe me, Papa Lou is going to be up there pulling the strings anyway on Fredo. You're just going to see this. I think for us to move forward as an organization, we need a full regime change. That's what we need. I mean, maybe a lot of fans are happy trying to scrape into the playoffs every year, come in, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th place. Maybe they're happy with that. I'm not, but maybe a lot of fans are. And a lot of young fans, I'm sure all they know is when the teams are losers, they think, getting to 2 Eastern Conference semifinals, that's like, woo, we're in the glory land. No, didn't do anything, never won anything. Again, and I'll say it, never won a division title, never won a conference title, never won a Stanley Cup. So I don't know what everyone's so ecstatic about.
Think about this, though. For the most part, New York sports haven't been fantastic as of recent, right? You got a lot of Jets fans. The Giants have had time periods and moments where they've been good, but ever since they've won that Super Bowl, they've been downhill for almost the better half of almost a full decade. You look at the Mets. I mean, the Mets made a few runs to the World Series, but when's the last time a New York sports team has won the championship? Giants,
Yankees.
maybe?
Yankees.
No. When did the Yankees win last? 18?
Oh, no, only 2009. I guess the Giants in 2011. Yeah.
The Giants. It's like, what I think that just a general New York sports fans are they're thirsty for success, and it's what you can't get in the mindset of is great. We can continue this path that we're on, and it's going to lead to a positive. We're a team right now that's not in the postseason. Teams around us have games in hand. I firmly expect after the trade deadline for us to win 4 of the first 5 games. There are 5 very winnable games that we're going to be playing.
We're going to be hearing then. We're back. We're on our way.
The Islanders have won 6 of their last 7
we're
games.
Win a Stanley Cup. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it from the
What
people.
A great trade by Lou Lamoriello. The Islanders have won 6 of their last 7 trades. We have righted the ship. You who have believed will be rewarded in June. That's what we're going to start hearing, shit like that. So just prepare yourself, ladies and gentlemen, listeners of this show.
What do you think the offseason is going to be like, though? Do you think they try to re-sign? Varlamov will re-sign. I feel confident he'll resign. He'll take a pay cut, but he will resign because he wants to be here. And Lou Lamoriello never lets anybody. You want to be here? Sure. Stay here forever. Who else?
And this doesn't mean anything, right? But Stefan Rosner put this out. Another fact, Bo Horvat, another fact about Bo Horvat, he shares, he works for the same, or he has the same sports agency, which is Newport Sports Management, with 6 current Islander players: Parise, Pajot, Bailey, Cizikas, Martin, and Clutterbuck.
Can we break them down one at a time? Parise,
yes.
He's not going anywhere. He's getting extended, probably for a raise. Pajot, overpaid third line center. Bailey, overpaid for drinking ice. Whatever he does, he's overpaid. Casey Cizikas, we give a 6-year contract extension to a fourth line center who's 30 years old. Overpayment. Matt Martin, what was his name 4 years ago, TJ? Do you remember 3 years ago?
$6 million man.
A $6 million man. Why? Because he got 4-year, 1.5 pay, one and a half per for a guy who plays the fourth line. Cal Clutterbuck, overpaid. I mean, so
hey
I
guys,
guess
are we starting to worry?
What, $9 million a year? 8.5, $9 million? Is he worth that? I don't know. But you know what? You talk to Vancouver people and they go, absolutely not.
Well, here's the thing I worry about. Anytime we seem to have to work out and negotiate a deal between a client in new sports management, we seem to always be on the losing end. I mean, like, besides maybe the Parise, Pajot's paid $5 million a year. He does more than what a third line center does, but he's a third line center. We overpay Bailey. We overpay Cizikas for the amount of term. We overpay Martin, and we went and signed an extension for Cal Clutterbuck. We usually don't win with this sports agency. It kind of makes you worry a bit, doesn't it, Gil?
Well, do you want to know what that agency did today or Monday afternoon? They were popping champagne bottles. Woohoo! Christmas coming again in February. Let's go. We got Lou on the hook.
Oh my God!
No, it's the truth. Come on.
Oh, I mean, that's been one of the questions that right now, right? They traded for Bo Horvat. Lou Lamoriello had also admitted that before the trade, did not speak to Horvat or the agency at all about a contract extension. I mean, how confident do you feel, Gil, that we're going to get a deal done?
I'm pretty confident. One thing you do look at, out of all the players, whenever the Islanders made a big trade acquisition, Lou Lamoriello in recent years has extended the player. He acquired Palmieri for a first-round pick, gave him an extension. Pajot was going to be an unrestricted free agent, gave him an extension. Romanov was a free agent this past offseason after the Islanders acquired him. They signed him to a new deal. I get the feeling that he's going to sign Horvat, because if he doesn't sign him, this deal is a disaster. And the only possible consolation is if they don't sign Horvat and the team doesn't play well over the next 4 weeks, they could turn around and trade him at the deadline, kind of like a Thomas Vanek kind of a situation.
I can't believe that. I
wouldn't expect that to happen, but I think they'll sign him. I think they will sign him.
I think this is a different situation too, though, regarding, because I've seen a few people have brought that up regarding, hey, we've brought everybody we've traded for, we've always gotten the extension signed. Think the same way regarding Bo Horvat. But again, I'm just going based off of people I trust in the Vancouver community who watch this guy and know Bo Horvat and know that team better than any of us Islander fans do. They said Bo Horvat will test the market. And think about it, right? This is a guy who on pace right now to hit 50 goals this season.
He's not going to hit 50 goals. He's playing for us now.
I know you've made that. You've said that before, but this is a guy who has never had more than 61 points in his NHL career over a season. And now, right, he's well on pace to beat that. He's well over a point a game mark right now. So he very well may be a guy who ends up the season with 80, 85, maybe even 90 points, depending on how things transpire. You know, now that he's going to be paired up with Matt Barzal and they're going to have the dynamic duo together. But we have, maybe he goes on a tear. He continues to go on a tear. I'm just saying that's a guy who's going to want to get paid. He's declined multiple contract extensions offered by Vancouver, the most recent one being the 7 years times $7 million per. He's going to want to get paid. That's pretty obvious. I feel unfortunately more leaning towards the side that he's going to test the free agent market.
Here's the thing. I also think he'll be re-signed. Like I said, he has to be re-signed So it's pretty much blank check time for him. That's what I think, because Lou doesn't want to be embarrassed. He overpays for everyone. I mean, so, we mentioned, he signs these guys back, but they're all at deals that were worth way too much money for the player's age and production. He overpays. I mean, it's like grandpa and grandma, they come over the house. It's like, hey, Johnny, oh, sure, here, take 10, take 20.
Write me a check. Here's a check for $50.
And, you got the parents say, okay, you give them $1 and, here's 20, here's 50. It doesn't matter. Just throw it away. It doesn't matter. It's not his money. I mean, that's what you're seeing. But here's the thing that every commentator said the same thing. Well, Lou wouldn't have made this deal unless he knew he could re-sign him. Stop. I think people are giving Lamoriello way too much credit for how he's produced in the in the management position the last couple of years. I think he's been miserable.
I do too.
I think he wins GM of the year for what? Making one trade? No, it's because he's Lou Lamoriello. Why didn't they just name the award after him, and then they didn't have to worry about giving it to him?
I do find it comical, and I want your opinion on this too, Gil. Everybody's like, oh, well, Elliot Friedman said the same thing. They wouldn't have made a deal like that unless he felt confident he can get that done. He's never talked to the agent or the player at all about an extension. I don't know how people could place so much blind faith that he's going to get that done. Maybe he does, but you're right. When you're coming from a position saying, we're going to do everything we can to sign you back, as just on the other side of the negotiation table, well, I know that I could really up that price if that's going to be your mindset, that we're going to do anything we can to get you signed. I can continue to milk you for maybe another $750K. But I mean, Gil, you feel confident. Do you have any worries or angst that maybe a deal might not get done?
Oh, there's always worries because, look, if you're Bo Horvat, this is your one big chance to sign that mega deal. If he even signs a 5-year contract, he's 33 at the end of that contract. And, then you're at the point where you're too old to sign that big multi-year deal. So for Bo Horvat, this is it. You want to have your family be secure for a couple of generations. You got to sign that big deal this offseason. And whether it's with the Islanders or somewhere else, he's going to try to get every dollar he can. And if I were him, I'd be doing the same thing. And, with regard to what you said before, do I think Lou Lamoriello is confident that he could sign him? Yes, but he doesn't know that. He's just confident.
That's a good point. He's just confident. And this guy has so much confidence. Like, I believe that this team is exactly the way they need to be constructed. I believe in the core of this team. I've seen him believe in a lot of things that make me question his beliefs. So maybe I'm a little bit more worried. You're right. I'm further entrenched in the fact that I think Bo Horvat's testing the water. When Dylan came on yesterday, who does the Vancouver podcast for the Hockey Podcast Network, and said he's testing the water, I wouldn't pay him more than 7x7. I'm worried a bit.
He'll get more than that here.
For certain he will.
I want to say probably 8.5 for 7.
I think for 8. I think he'll get that 8th year, and I think that will sort of be the thing he'll hold out for. He'll want that 8th year as a little extra security.
Man, Lou will get it. He'll probably be dead by the time that contract's up, so it's not going to matter to him.
Okay, he probably might. Who the hell knows?
He's 80 years old.
Yeah. Because you mentioned, yeah. Oh, my gosh. We've talked about it before. Well, let me ask you this. When does it all stop? Because we all know they retain 25% of the cap hit. We're at a spot to where if the Islanders wait until the trade deadline, they're going to have $11.8 million of cap, or I'm sorry, maybe it's 11.3, whatever the hell it was. It was 11 million in change of cap space that will be available that they can utilize. If that's the case, you have to assume with 11 million, with the move we just made with $11 million of available cap space, we're probably going to be buying additional pieces. Wouldn't you say, Gil? I know Grumpy said there's no way I couldn't imagine us doing that, but wouldn't you think that would probably be the scenario, Gil?
I think that's what Lou would like to do. The question is, does he have the ammunition to get that kind of job done? Because, as we said before, this farm system, the organization is already ranked near the bottom of the league, and they just traded away. They don't have a first-round pick. They don't have their number one prospect you talked about Dufour and his skating. Who are you going to give up? Bolduc? What's left to trade that a team that's looking to rebuild and retool would really find desirable?
I think that they're going to say, well, you've got guys like Samuel Bolduc, just as you mentioned. Samuel Bolduc is a guy big, could be showcased. He's played well this year in the AHL, played well 2 years ago in the AHL. I know last year was a little bit spotty at best, but hey, you've got a second round pick in this year's draft. That will leave you with no first, second, and third round pick, but you also have next year's draft picks too.
Okay. Let me stop you. Let's say you're the team that's trading the veteran player. You want a draft pick from 2024 when you can get one from 2023 from somebody else?
Here's the thing.
No. They're going to get better offers from teams that are in the playoff hunt right now. Like you talk about, like who? Everyone's saying Tarasenko, right back on the Tarasenko train. Forget that. That, as far as I'm concerned, that ship sailed 2 years ago when he was too much of a gutless coward to make the move. That's when they should have signed Tarasenko. Not now when he's a UFA at 31 years old. And let's say St. Louis does determine to move him. You don't think he'd get more from a team like Carolina or a team like Boston?
Tarasenko's got 29 points this season.
Okay.
Right? Here's the thing. You're paying based off of prior performance, and you're paying based off of what you think can happen. Now, again, I think Vladimir Tarasenko is still an extremely talented player. I think he'd be successful here. But again, he's a rental. You know what you're getting. He's a rental in that.
But who's going to offer more for a player? Who has more ammunition in the gun? Every other team in the league or the Islanders?
Well, here's the thing. Now, it's funny you bring that up. I don't want to launch into comments just quite yet, but this is one that I saw that I think is applicable to it, Grumpy. Mikey D says, the Athletics said that Horvat came down to the Islanders, the Rangers, Carolina, and Boston. Boston didn't have the assets, and the Rangers and Carolina thought the price was too high. Shouldn't that be a concern? Shouldn't that concern us, given that they're better than us with way more assets than us? Some teams are not willing to part ways with assets like Aatu Raty and first-round picks, but the Islanders and Lou Lamoriello is willing to throw that. They're willing to throw any sort of care that to the side.
That's why he overpays for every single deal he makes.
Well, that's my point.
That's why every single trade he makes.
Willing to do that, but I could see Lou Lamoriello saying, "Great, second this year, Samuel Bolduc, and maybe a third next year."
But someone else will offer more than that.
Okay,
a second-round pick isn't going to get it done. I don't care who. If you want to get somebody who's going to make an impact on your team, a second-round pick and Samuel Bolduc is not going to get it done. And no team is looking for a 2024 draft pick. They want 2023. Why? Because it's a really deep draft. That's what they're looking for. I mean, what was the holdup in Boston? They want to trade Louis DeBrusk. That was the holdup for Boston. They didn't want to trade DeBrusk.
You mean Jigga?
And here's the thing: everything that Carolina touches turns to gold. So whatever they think, I'm going to say they're probably right. Every year we say the same thing about Carolina. That's where I'm from, Gil. Every year we say, man, what the hell are they doing? And they just get better and better and better. And they own
a well-run organization.
They're tremendously well-run. And they're near the coach, played with the Flyers. Man, he's really good.
I mean, you talk about DeBrusk. I mean, DeBrusk's had a good season this year for the Bruins. I know maybe they still want to move him, but 30 points in 36 games, you could be doing a lot worse than that.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're a team that's lost, 7 games this year? I mean, 7 games all year. And you went on your first 3-game losing streak of the season. I don't know how they're doing today, but I mean, I know they were on a 3-game losing streak. I mean, they're a team that, of a team who should be all in with a Patrice Bergeron and a Brad Marchand and David Krejci. Those guys are no spring chickens. They're a team that should be all in. I'm stunned. I heard that they were interested, and I knew Carolina was interested, but maybe they know something that we don't know.
I think we're going to go ahead and give up we're going to purchase whatever we can for a second and a guy like Bolduc or Delius. That's what we're going to do. We're going to say, what can that get us? great. We're going to find a bottom 6 defenseman that we're going to give up a second-round pick and Calio Delius for, just like we did with Andy Green. We gave up a second-round pick for Andy Green. You don't think we can give a second-round pick this year and Calio Delius or a guy like Samuel? They're going to trade more assets, future assets away.
Don't have any assets to trade to get anyone. The fossil will not be able to pick up anyone who's going to make a difference. He's not just going to let's give O'Dalius and George and our second and next year's. They're not going to do that for what? Other teams are going to take the highest value. The Islanders don't have it. They put all their bullets in one gun and they shot for Bo Horvat. That's it. They're done. Everything else that he does now is going to be window dressing. That's it.
I'm telling you, I think that we are going to add a defenseman, a bottom 6 guy, and I think
why you don't need it. No, you don't need the defenseman.
I don't think they feel confident. I've liked what I've seen with Aho, but maybe they feel like they've got a lack of confidence in what's going on that side of the defense.
What? Why? It makes no sense.
We're giving up and hemorrhaging chances left and right. They probably want a guy with some
better. The defense's fault. The offense not coming back. They don't because they're too old to come back and back check like they were 3-4 years ago. Can't do it anymore because they're all in their 30s. Or they just don't want to, Anders Lee. I can always tell when Anders Lee wants to play, you see him hustling back on defense. That's when you can tell. He was hustling back on defense the other night. Oh, they must have heard rumblings. Hey, we're going to shake the team up. We're going to make a trade. Oh, better get my ass out there, pick it up. I don't want any of my cul-de-sac buddies getting moved. Anthony Beauvillier, it's okay. He's a French-Canadian. He wasn't part of our crew anyway. So we can get rid of him. Aatu Raty, he's a rookie. Who cares about him?
Let me ask you this, Gil. Do you think we're going to be in a spot to where we're going to see better effort level from the Islanders? I think the Islanders' effort level hasn't been fantastic. I mean, that's
an understatement. Yeah.
The win-loss, I think, kind of shows you that. But do you expect that we're going to see a more concerted effort level upcoming after this trade?
I think we have to. If we don't, the season is lost. I don't care who you put out there. The thing that's been upsetting on so many levels this year, I can handle the fact that your team may not be as talented as the other team. I can handle the fact that occasionally things don't bounce your way. But the lack of effort, the fact that this team, out of the first, we've played 52 games. Out of those 52, how many of those would you say this team has given a solid 60-minute effort? 3?
I'd say it's Grumpy. How could you count them all in one hand? I'd have to say, right, Grump? You're muted. Oh, must have something going on. But sure. I mean, like maybe you're talking about like 3 or 4. It hasn't been a lot. And like the ones, here's the thing: you can count the ones where we did see complete effort. They stand out a lot more than the ones where we do not, when we don't give the complete effort.
The Carolina game, the first Carolina game. I thought we played hard the first Boston game that we lost. There have been games where I think we've come out and played well, or to our capability. But I mean, how many 60-minute efforts have we had? 2, 3. That's it. We're either really bad in the first period, we come on the second and third, or we're really good in the first, and we fall asleep the second and third. And I'm not blaming the coach. It's the same thing. It's the same players. They had the same issue with Trotz. Doesn't matter. It's the players. It's always about the players. And the players are not good enough. They've never been good enough since Lamoriello got here. They were not good enough.
But if you're not good enough, the effort has to be even better. I mean, if you know the most talented team doesn't always win a hockey game. They'll win more often than not, but they don't always win. But for the less talented team to win, you've got to put in 100% effort. You've got to give everything you've got. You may need a couple of bounces, a little puck luck now and again. But, if you're less talented and you're not giving 100%, forget it.
And we're less talented. I don't think we have the ability. It's like I want to say that this team hasn't they've tuned out coach or they've done that. I don't think they have the legs to give the same effort level on a night in, night out basis. 31 years old for the average age for the forward group. That's the issue.
That's the issue. We're a team built for the 1990s, and this is the 2020s. I say that about Lamoriello all the time. It's not 1990 anymore. This is 2020. It's a different game. I mean, that's what I liked about this last draft we had. Of course, we didn't have a first-round draft pick, but everybody else fit the modern NHL style. Forwards, while a little bit, they could all skate. Defensemen, the good puck movers. I mean, we just have nothing up top. It's like we're built for the 1990s, and it just doesn't work. We have the goalie. We have some serviceable defensemen, and we got 2 forwards now. 2. 3 if you want to count Nelson. I don't. So I'm going to say 2.
Well, look, this team right now, if you want to be optimistic in the future, assuming you do re-sign Horvat, you're building around Barzal, Horvat, Sorokin, if you can re-sign him, Pelech, Pulock, and Dobson. That's your core. And those guys are a little bit younger than the 31. That's your core. But based on the cap situation right now, you're going to have 7 or 8 Hudson Fashings around those guys. Nothing against Hudson Fashing. I like the guy. He gives 110% every night. But talent-wise, he's a fringe NHL player.
And in 2 years, most of these guys come off the books, most of the veterans. But what makes you think he's not going to double down on them? Because every chance he's had an opportunity to let a 35-year-old go, he doesn't. He keeps on re-signing them. It's like, dude, how many chances do you have to get to realize you need to refresh this roster? And it just doesn't happen. That's really, for me, that's really disappointing. And you could just see the team, all right, we were good in COVID years. Why? Because you can give 110% effort when you're, 29, 30 years old, when you're only playing 50-something games a season. You can do that. Or you have an extended break going into the playoffs like they did the first year they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, but we saw last year, 82 games, couldn't get it done. How's it look this year? Much the same. I mean, not much better. And if it hasn't been for Sorokin, we'd already be out of the play. We wouldn't even be talking about this because he wouldn't have made that acquisition.
Agreed. Without Sorokin, they're toast.
But I just find it interesting that no free agent will come here. You got to trade for him. You got to give up a whole bunch of assets to overpay a guy to stay. That's just bad mathematics right there.
But it's the same mathematics. You mentioned again that this team is sort of built for the 1990s, and yet that was Lou Lamoriello's heyday. That's when the New Jersey Devils were winning Stanley Cups, and how did they do it? They had one of the best goalies of all time, and they played the trap and shut you down and bored everyone to tears, winning 2-1. And that's what he's trying to recreate to a large extent with the Islanders now, except it's 30 years later, and it doesn't quite work the same way because the league has changed.
And those Devils teams had Ilya Kovalchuk and Patrick Elias. Those teams had some really talented forwards.
But here's the thing. There was no free agency back then, right?
Yeah.
So free agency changes everything. And here's the thing. Yeah, that style worked back then when Brodeur was in net because they let a lot of the clutching and grabbing go through the neutral zone. Those are all penalties now. Scott Stevens, I was a huge Scott Stevens fan. Man, he'd struggle in today's, well, maybe he wouldn't struggle. He was a good enough skater. And Niedermeyer was good, but Ken Danico absolutely would have struggled in today's NHL. That's what you're seeing. Everyone, they're going away from those type of defensemen. Look at Pelech. He can't skate as well anymore. Gets walked around an awful lot. Pulock, same thing. Romanov, do we even need to take about the dumpster fire that is Romanov right now? God. Not again. Not today. I don't think it's necessary.
We've got bigger fish to fry at this moment, Grumpy, than talking about Alexander Romanov. That's for certain. Yeah, it's as I've mentioned before. When does it stop? When does the mentality of continuing to mortgage off the limited assets we have for the future to try to make a run to make the playoffs? I could understand doing a trade or a move like that if we're a team that's sitting first in the conference, second in the conference, maybe even third in the conference. If you're a team that's dominant, that's saying, I have watched a team play, and this team has given me reason to believe that with Bo Horvat, they can win a cup. Gotcha. That makes sense to make a move like this. This team is sitting, what, in 10th or 11th in the conference?
10th.
And we're sitting in 10th in the conference, and our ideology is, well, this Bo Horvat move is going to help us make the postseason. Is that really what the goal is here? Is that the goal? Is that Lou Lamoriello's end goal? Hey, make the postseason. It's not mine.
Well, I think in that regard, the fact that the Islanders made those 2 long playoff runs when they barely squeaked into the playoffs, he's looking to catch that kind of lightning in a bottle again. And those long playoff runs may be working against the organization right now because that's the goal. Hey, if we get in with our great goaltending and our defense, we can beat anybody. We could lose to anybody, but we could beat anybody. And maybe it's a little overly optimistic if you think about it.
I think the only reason we played as well as we did in those postseason runs in the past, that second postseason run was a complete sham. People talk about how the Rangers postseason run last year was a complete sham, and it was a little bit. It's the same thing for us. You can only beat the teams that are in front of you, given Tristan Jarry was miserable in that. One of the worst performances by a goalie since they started measuring, goals conceded compared to the high danger chances that you faced against. He had a miserable series. And we played against Tuukka Rask, who was on a career-ending injury.
Need a Walker out there.
Yes. And that game against Boston, what, they go 6 games?
6. That series changed. The tenor of that series changed when they knocked Carlo out.
They knocked Carlo out too. Yeah.
That Boston didn't have the defense, and Rask couldn't move from side to side. Just couldn't. With that torn hip labrum, couldn't do it.
Yep.
And eventually it ended his career.
Yep, it did. He came back, he played 3 games and said, "Nah, I can't do this."
And people forget that Pittsburgh series, Varlamov was so bad that Sorokin had to come in and save our bacon. And you knew Trotz was going to go right back to Varlamov. Sorokin didn't win one game. Okay, bye-bye, back to the bench for you, regardless if you've been the better goalie for ever since you've been here. And he puts Varlamov back in net. And we were never beating Tampa. Never. Never freaking ever. If we played Tampa today in a 7-game series, they beat us.
So best case scenario for us is we make it in as the 8th seed, and then we're playing against Boston. I mean, do we feel do you feel confident saying, yeah, we're playing Boston as the 8th seed going into the postseason, we're going to win?
No, not at all. Sorokin would have to stand on his head and then some. And, Boston, they're the best team in the league right now.
And just to piggyback off of that, Gil, as good as Sorokin's been, Omar's been better.
Yeah. He's the best goalie in the league right now.
He's the best goalie in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to see Boston throw up all over themselves in a tight battle. Just not going to see it. And here's the thing. Boston will pick up some piece before the deadline to help them out. Carolina will pick up some pieces before the deadline
to
help
will
them
Pittsburgh.
out.
So will Washington. So will the Rangers. All of these teams that are in front of, that's my thing too, right? People are saying, well, great. Now we've got Horvat. We got it, man. Punch our ticket. We're making
everyone else is cutting all their players to give us a shot.
Do we think that these teams, like with the Washington Capitals, with Alexander Ovechkin, do they think they say, oh, yeah, Ovechkin is 38, 39 years old now? Well, we don't need to add at the deadline. Crosby's 38, 39. We don't need to add it to every single one of those teams that are in the playoff spot are adding at the deadline. So trust me, us adding Bo Horvat, it's not like this is changing the entire picture. These other teams are going to add players too. So we don't even know. We don't even know how Bo Horvat's going to mesh and gel with Matt Barzal. We have no idea.
I'm just assuming that he's going to work with him.
It's a big assumption. Sometimes chemistry doesn't work well with players.
I'm an optimist. What can I tell you?
There's a possibility, right? Maybe they don't gel well. Remember when we brought in Kyle Palmieri? Everybody thought it was, hey.
Kyle Palmieri sucks. Kyle Palmieri sucked out loud. Who was the one guy I said I didn't want at that deadline? You remember, TJ? I said the only guy I don't want is that guy infected with devilitis Kyle freaking Palmieri.
Devilitis.
He's the one guy I did not want was Kyle freaking Palmieri. Why? Because he sucks. Every losing team has to have a player who scores goals, like Mariusz Tchaikovsky did for us years ago. It's Kyle Palmieri for the lowly Devils, the last franchise that Lou destroyed with his ridiculous antics. And that's what we're seeing here. This is Devils Part 2. That's what we are. We are the new Devils. How long did it take the Devils to get good again after he destroyed that franchise?
Like 6 years of winning the draft lottery. So,
they're young. I still don't like their goaltending still.
Mark sent this, and I like this, Grumpy. Mark sent this video to me, so we can listen anytime we're talking about Kyle Palmieri.
You folks fell on your face. You get an F- in my book.
An F-, Grumpy. The F-, Kyle Palmieri.
F-. And have you noticed Parishes really kind of dropping off a little bit? You noticed?
It's almost like a 38-year-old.
It's like he's a 38 special. Those days are way behind him too. That's from the 90s.
Do you remember when Valtteri Filppula played that one year Barry Trotz, and Valtteri Filppula had such a great start to the season, and even midway through the year was playing such great hockey. And then kind of towards the tail end, we went on that postseason, we're like, oh, wow, Filppula's only scored 2 goals over the last 30 games. Oh,
because you're 38 years old.
My point exactly. And your guys who are average 31 years old, it's not going to be as severe as a 38-year-old, but you're going to start to see the same exact pattern.
Oh, I got breaking news. Anders Lee got back to the center ice after just scoring a goal 3 days ago. Finally made his way back to center ice.
Oh, my gosh. So I think we're going to add, though. I mean, Gil, what pieces do you think? Let's do this. As much as we hate, I don't want to add. Grumpy doesn't want to add because we're further just digging ourselves into this hole in this situation and conundrum. But what pieces do you think we're going to add, Gil, before the NHL trade deadline?
I think Lou is going to look for a depth defenseman, although I don't think that should be the priority. I think they need another goal scorer. I mean, if you take whatever the future is going to be out of the equation and you're just saying, what does this team need to be more competitive? They need another top 6 forward. Let's not kid ourselves. You don't go from 30th in the league on the power play and 27th or whatever they are in goals scored in the league to Stanley Cup contender by just adding one player. They are more than one player away from providing enough offense to win consistently.
Wouldn't you feel better if we could have signed Johnny Gaudreau in the offseason?
Yeah.
And then you make the trade for Horvat, and it's like, okay, now we have something up top. That's what I want. I wanted Gaudreau in the worst way. In the worst way. I thought he was a fit with Barzal. Just the skating, the moving. And then you got a guy like Horvat in there too. Man, that's a great line.
And if you were so hell-bent on bringing Bo Horvat in, you could have done so via free agency. You didn't have to give up a first, Aatu Raty, and Anthony Beauvillier in order to bring a guy who was going to be a free agent in just a short notice of time.
Well, we're going to find out.
Oh, man, we will.
Let's see Aatu Raty take off. How'd that be?
People forget. Oh, go ahead, Gil. I'm sorry.
No, well, he's starting in the AHL. They're putting him down at Abbotsford, and I think that's the right move long term. And, think about it. If you're the Canucks, you want to lose games now. So let him develop. Let him get his confidence up. Let him play 20 minutes a night, power play, first line minutes. And in a year or two, when he's more confident, better adjusted to North American hockey, and you want to start winning again, that's when you bring him up and let him do his thing.
I 100% agree. That's what they should do. I mean, just for us, think about it. Think about how bad our forward situation is, where Vancouver has the luxury of sending down a guy who had to play for us because we had no one else. And they can send him down because, well, we got enough forwards on this team.
And let me ask you this too. Have you also had this feeling that, or at least from, again, I don't read enough social media enough on Twitter, but it seems like there are so many people out there that almost forget Aatu Raty was the consensus top 3 pick, possibly the first overall selection the year before his draft class. And things didn't work out in Carpot until he got moved to Jokerit, and things just completely changed 2 years or last year. And then this year, in the A, he's been making that transition to North American style of ice. And it's almost like they're just saying, oh, he could be a number 2 or possibly number 3 center. I'm sorry, based off of there's nothing that said number 3 center to me from what I've seen in the limited time on ice from him. I mean, like, what did you think about him? How big of a piece was that to lose, Gil? I thought it's a big piece, but Grumpy cares more about the pick than Aatu Raty. I want to kind of get your opinion on what you thought of Aatu Raty.
I like Raty, but right now I think he's more of a number 2 center long term. He does have, if everything breaks right, if he's well coached, if he stays healthy, if he takes to North America really well, best case scenario, he could be a number 1, but I think most likely he's a number 2 center. But I like so many things, so many of the little things he does. I like his work ethic. I think he's going to be a solid NHLer. And, if he turns into production-wise in his prime, a Brock Nelson or an Anders Lee, I think that's a very solid second-round pick.
And for me, I don't dislike him. I like Horvat as a player. What I said was I could remember when we first talked about it, when we were talking about maybe acquiring Horvat months ago. I said, I don't want to give up Raty, and I don't want to give up that first round draft pick. But if I had to give up one or the other, I'd rather give up Raty, because this is a really deep draft. And Raty, like I said, I think he's a second line center. He's got a great shot. He's got good hockey sense, and he's a better skater than people give him credit for.
I agree with that.
Like I said, I think that I like him, but sometimes you got to give to get. Beauvillier was a throw-in, right? Needed to change the scenery. I would have liked it. You know what, Vancouver? Give us Brock Besser as well. He's not producing for you. How about throwing him in? Now, that's a deal I could have got behind that one a little bit better.
Oh, man. I tell you, Grumpy. Well, let's do this, Grumpy. Let's get to the ad read for today's podcast. And I want to start getting some comments. I know we didn't get to too many comments the last few shows, but I've been trying to star a few here.
Well, we can't do 9-hour shows though. We can't do 9-hour shows. So.
What, Grumpy? We can't do a 9-hour show 4 times a week. What's wrong with you, Grumpy?
I can't do that. No.
We can't devote 30-something hours a week to the shows. Oh, come on, Grumpy. You're just not dedicated enough.
Not for what I'm getting paid.
Today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app now and opt in and play the same-game parlay on any NBA game. And if it doesn't hit, you'll get a free bet back. You'll get your free bet back. So you could say, hey, I'm expecting Kyrie to drop 50 and the Nets to win. And hey, if it doesn't hit, get your free bet back. Download the app now and use the promo code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 on the NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Again, with promo code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes in the description for additional details.
Oh, very nice job.
And also, we have a sponsor, Raycon. This time of the year, everybody's talking about making big changes, which is all good and well, but most of the time, pretty unrealistic. I've actually found that sometimes the smallest changes in your routine can make the biggest impact. And in the same way, you don't have to break the bank to make a big deal or, a big deal purchase. Even, sometimes the smallest things, can be a part of the big change that's needed. And, that some things that you can use every day, kind of like my Raycon headphones. Raycon is a premium brand at a perfect price point. So you can build, great habits without breaking the bank. So when you're at the gym, you can get in there and when you're working out, you can go ahead and get in the right mindset, Grumpy, or you could be listening to podcasts, however you listen to your headphones, whether you're
getting podcasts.
You don't listen to our podcast, Grump.
Why? I live it. I listened to our podcast once and I thought I was great.
Whether you're looking for an everyday pair of earbuds, low latency gaming headphones, or a speaker with battery that will last all night at your next party, Raycon's got you covered. And yep, Raycon start at half the price of other premium audio brands. So you don't even have to choose between products. You can get one each and you can get, a pair and a spare and still play and pay less than what you would for some of the other guys. Even if, even if you're going to love your Raycons as much as I do, Raycon still wants you to feel great about the purchase. They offer a buy now, pay later option. And, every purchase, is easy with a free return guarantee. The Raycons, they've got the noise isolation, they've got the awareness mode, they've got the earbud tap functionality, and the crystal clear call quality. Grumpy. So if you're ready to buy something small with a big impact, go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get 15% off your Raycon order. Again, that's buyraycon.com/THPN and score 15% off. buyraycon.com/THPN.
Nice job. Ooh. I have a question for you. You ever see those little jerseys, like the team jerseys they sell to kids? I don't know what the prices are, but they should be like, what, $15? Think about how little material they use. I mean, as opposed to an adult size jersey.
It's probably going to cost like about $50 or $60.
Oh man, that's too much. Sorry, kid. You're not getting a jersey this year.
Oh man. Got a comment there from Nick D. Grump.
TJ, Gil, the curve. That's me, by the way, Gil. How are you guys doing tonight? TJ, you are impressive to get the host of Locked on Isles on the Best Islander podcast, period. That's us. After 2 days, Lou effed up. He should be let go. His thing, like I said, Gil, it's a pleasure to meet you. But like I said, I don't listen to any other podcast. TJ told me you had a podcast. He's like, oh, Gil Martin. I'm like, oh, what's his first name? And he's like, oh, because you had a kid you went to school with whose last name was Gil Martin, wasn't it, TJ?
No, Gil Martin.
Gil Martin. Okay, whatever. Well, Gil Martin, whatever. I don't know. But it's a pleasure having you on here today. And I'm probably not. I'm not even going to lie to you and say I'm going to listen to your podcast because I never have. But after 2 days, Lou effed up. Yeah, he did. He should be let go. Absolutely, he should be.
But I figured we get a lot of positive Gil comments in here. I made sure to try to highlight those too, Grumpy. Joseph C. Grump.
TJ's late again. Maybe he's consoling the grumpy old man over the Tom Brady retirement. This time, I hope he stays retired. He will be. This is it. You saw it today. You can tell he wasn't with the Harpy. His big-handed, man-handed ex-wife told me, you must put on a big production when you want to retire. She's not there anymore. So it was short and sweet. And you could tell just by looking at him, he was emotional. You could tell. And he had to cut off. He's done. He's done. And, the hero of the people is no longer there. Very disappointing, but it is what it is. And Son X is also another Tom Brady fan. So he'll be discussing that tomorrow.
Oh, my God, Grumpy, I might have to just mail in tomorrow's show.
Isn't that what you do pretty much every show? You just mail it in?
The sickness is coming back on,
My
Grumpy.
back hurts from carrying you every single episode.
Oh, man, stop, Grumpy, stop. Jerry Springer, Grump.
Oh, my goodness, look at this picture. They say Lou isn't done yet, that another move may happen. Grumpy old man will go berserk. I don't think he's going to make another move. I don't think he can. He doesn't have enough ammunition to make another move. Who could he possibly move? He's not going to move that piece of crap Holmstrom, who, man, I would have loved to see him go.
Apex Legends, here it is. This is a little
love
later.
You, grumpy old man, but you're wrong about the four. Ishikawa is also a player. The four can't skate.
So hey, Grumpy. Okay.
What? What
I'm
was your
saying we're
question?
going to be moving guys like Ishikov, DeFore, Samuel Bolduc, second-round picks, next year's first. Those are the type of things we're going to be moving,
Okay.
Grumpy.
You're like most typical Islander fans. You think everybody who puts on an Islander uniform or a Bridgeport uniform, man, they're great prospects. Everybody wants them. Nobody wants them. We can't give them away.
I'm telling
Whenever
you,
we get
Samuel,
one, they're gone. Now, I could see him moving Oliver Wahlstrom. Now, that's a guy I could see him moving.
I said that last, I guess it wasn't yesterday, but 2 nights ago, I said I could definitely see them trading Oliver Wahlstrom.
Now,
He's supposed to be injured out the remainder of the year. I could absolutely see them trading away Oliver Wahlstrom. No doubt in my
off
mind.
Season, they won't move him in season. If he's injured, he doesn't help anybody. So he's not getting moved.
If you could get a guy like that really cheap as to what you think the value of him is, I could easily see them moving a guy like Wahlstrom.
Okay.
We're doubling down, Grumpy. I'm telling you, we're not getting any younger. Trust me.
I think Lou's going to try to make a move. Whether he's able to do it or not, that remains to be seen. But he's going to try.
Emmanuel R. Grumpy.
Good evening, gents. Without the retention of Horvat, the Islanders' cap space would have been $10 million. Now it's 11.3. Who cares? I have to believe Lou is going to go after Kane or Tarasenko or someone else. What would Chicago, once again, what would Chicago value from our organization to give up Patrick Kane? If they move Patrick Kane, they're at least getting a first-round draft pick from somebody. And it's going to be a 2023 first, maybe even 2, because he's Patrick freaking Kane. Tarasenko, not as good this year, but someone will give him a first-round draft pick, and it's not going to be us. That's for certain.
I think we're going to make him. Yeah, I was about to say Patrick Kane, we're not going to touch because everything else that went on with him too. But Nick C said, I heard that Wally might be done for the year. Is this true? I've been hearing the same thing. I would not expect Oliver Wahlstrom to return. I don't know. Have you heard anything else, Gil?
I've heard the rumor that he's done for the year. I mean, according to the team, he's day-to-day. So, but everybody's day-to-day. So I think Grumpy Old Man is listed as day-to-day by the Islanders also. So, what are you going to do? But,
they were hoping that I'd have torn vocal cords to my scathing attacks on the organization.
Just make sure you get put on LTIR so we free up some cap space.
Yeah, why not? Lou put Stefan Robidas. They named it Robidas Island for a reason. Why couldn't he do that with the trash that's all over our roster? Mikey D says, with Bo, his name is just Bo now. Okay. A contract will be inflated because of his career year and shooting percentage. Zibanejad got 8 years, 8.5. Is Bo deserving of close to 8.5, 9 based off his career? No, he's not. I think Vancouver had the right offer, 7-year, low 7s. Well, that's what Rutherford said. He said when they offered him a deal, it was based on what he had done prior to this year. He said, if you're just looking at this year, that's a low number. You're not going to pay him more than Matt Barzal. That's not going to happen.
I could see him wanting a similar contract.
Okay, but if you're his agent, would you not? I think it's a crime for Bo Horvat. If his agent doesn't take him to free agency with where he is now, it's a crime against your client.
I'd agree, unless they blow you away with the offer. And unless you get there and it's like, oh, man, I really love Long Island, the cul-de-sac crew. I'm just so happy. I love everything here. I really don't want to go. That's the only case where it's like, hey, we're not bringing you to free agency. But you're right. As your agent, your job is to try to maximize the dollars for the situation that your client wants to be in. Does your client want to be on Long Island? Does your client want to be here? Maybe, maybe not. Or does your client just want to get paid the most and he doesn't care where he is?
I just find it funny that you're hearing from people how, Bo Horvat, he loves the Islanders. That's a team that he's wanted to play for. What would make you say that? He wanted to stay in Vancouver. He wasn't looking to go to the Islanders. Whoever says, I want to go to the Islanders? No one ever says, I want to go to the Islanders. Kyle Palmieri, Travis Zajac, after his career was over, I'd love coming back to the Islanders. Yeah, why? There's no accountability. You get paid a nice amount of money. It's like soccer players going to the North American Soccer League after they play, if they're finished in Europe. They come to the North American Soccer League. That's where people come to the islands. It's like a retirement home. No accountability. Don't have to play too hard. You all live in the same neighborhood. It's great. You don't have to win Stanley Cups.
Don't have to worry about winning any. No accountability. Just show up, collect your paycheck. Drew L. Grumpy.
Hello. Just wanted to announce to the podcast that today's my birthday. Happy birthday, Drew. So no slander today from others. Well, as soon as you say that, I'm expecting the slander to start.
Oh, gosh. Frank K. Grumpy.
We're now the worst farm team in the NHL. They're nowhere near a cup. Frank is very positive as well. I like it.
He's not wrong, but he's positive.
He's not wrong.
Exactly.
Manuel says, if Lou makes another big move and goes all in, do you think he fires Lambert? If so, who's replaced? He's not firing Lambert. Lambert was his hand-picked guy.
Lambert, he can control. And this guy wants all sorts of types of control over the head coach. I think it hurt him when he couldn't control Barry Trotz. I mean, Barry Trotz was producing. They were winning, but could not control Barry Trotz anywhere near to the extent that you can a guy like Lane Lambert, first-time head coach. Here's the thing, too, we've talked about. Who the hell knows what postseason hockey's going to look like, or even close contested games on a consistent basis is going to look like when things get down to the crunch, because we've got a first-time head coach. Who the hell knows how that's going to impact what the remainder of the season is going to look like?
Can I tell you what the playoffs are going to look like?
Sure.
No Islanders are going to be in it. It's going to be every other team in the league, not us.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, no.
It's the truth.
And Scott L. Grumpy.
Oh, GMs must love going to Lou's house on Halloween and Christmas because he gives out first-round picks like candy. Now, a little bit, Scott, I'm going to give you a little bit of faux pas. It should be Halloween and Easter as opposed to Christmas.
They go to Easter.
Only because he mentioned the candy thing. You know, candy is mostly a Halloween and Easter holiday as opposed to Christmas.
You get candy. You get candy in your stock.
Well, here's the warden gives you candy. Absolutely, she does. But for most families, it's not candy. When you think candy, you think of, the Easter bunny, getting the jelly beans and the little, the chocolate bunnies, the vanilla bunnies, whatever. And then you look at, Halloween as well. Hey, it's like a candy free-for-all. So when you mentioned candy, it should have been holiday and Easter. Sorry to jump on you, Scott, but I just want to straighten you out a little bit.
You know what I'm kind of happy about? I'm kind of happy we exploded after the day of the Bo Horvat trade, because it's allowed today to be much more. As I mentioned at the beginning of that show, I'm defeated as a fan. I am. You could see the writing on the wall. Hey, by 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, there's no point to bother rooting for the Islanders, watching the Islanders. You don't have to worry about it. Don't have to turn the TV on. Save yourself 3 hours, 82 times a year.
Well, no, what you could do is you can always plan your vacations, because whenever the season ends date, June 1st or whatever, the season's over. No shot of making the playoffs.
True. Hey, that you could save time not watching. You could save, you can make sure you get, even if you're gonna watch, you could go ahead and get those early vacations in. Sure, Grumpy.
Spring break, baby.
There it is. What's up, Coach Tommy B? Mikey D, Grumpy.
Lou sent down Holmstrom and Bolduc to save cap space during the break, and he hasn't put Wally or Cluster on the long-term injury because that stops the deadline cap space from growing by day. He's buying more. Crap, Lou. I think he also sent them down because he wanted them to get playing time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a combination of the two. I don't know what you think on that, Gil, but I know those guys need to play more, in my opinion.
No question. And they're not going to get as much playing time in the NHL as they would in the A. So, Holmstrom's playing 9-10 minutes a game. He goes down to Bridgeport. He'll play 15 to 20 minutes a game. Bolduc will be one of your top defensemen down there. And he's also an AHL All-Star. So I think they want to have him down there at least to represent for the All-Star game.
Holmstrom was no AHL All-Star.
No, Bolduc.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to throw in that Holmstrom stuff.
Oh, man. Got a comment here from Doug R. Grumpy.
I don't care what Lou does. The Islanders can win the cup. I want to say he left out the apostrophe T. I'm going to add it in for you, Doug. The Islanders can't win the cup. We'll never like him as a GM.
No, they said he doesn't care what Lou does. The Islanders can win a cup. He's never going to like him as a general manager. So it doesn't matter. Even if Lou brings a cup to Long
I'm sorry.
Island, he's not. So no, it was written correctly, but still the same anger shown towards it on the comments.
My interpretation was incorrect. That's cool.
Oh man, JG Grumpy.
Gil, gotta say my name. Your name's TJ, by the way. Gil, gotta say, love your show, big fan.
Well, thank you, JG. Appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot.
There it is. And Tony Cheese says, yes, Gil. We got a comment here from Goon Goon Grumpy.
Is it possible that the Islanders will get a first-round pick back if Lou continues to wheel and deal? By doing so, Grumpy will finally have a good night's sleep again. It's true. I have not been sleeping good, but I don't think it has anything to do with, Lou Lamoriello. Believe me, he doesn't have that type of power over me.
Yeah, it doesn't affect, but
I mean, if I'm just so against trading away that first round pick, I'm just beside myself. But let's say he decides, let's say we go on a losing streak. We're not going to, of course, because this was a good time to make that trade. Softest part of the rest of our season schedule. So get everybody back on board. I always love it. Gail, I don't know about you, but I love when Lou comes out and he, does the press conferences every once in a while. Whenever, the natives are getting restless, he'll come out and he'll do his condescending press conference on the, where the team's at, how we got to make hockey trades, whatever tripe that he comes up with. I just find that amusing myself. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know if that was directed towards me, Grumpy. But
no, I don't ask you anything.
I'll keep quiet.
If I want any shit out of you, I'll just squeeze your head.
He always does that. And the amazing thing about Lou's press conferences is he'll take as much time as he can to say as little as possible. It's, you could script Lou's press conferences almost before you hear them, and you'd probably be 85, 90% right.
And he tried to find a way to take a little quick and sharp or a little quick stab at the fans. A little quick stab. Oh, they can't understand what's going on. Everybody wants
Monday morning
quarterback.
A lot of Monday morning quarterbacks out here.
Right. Gotta love
You're
that.
Seeing the media. You're seeing them. They're just toadies, lackeys, the media cartel. They're just the same. They carry his water for them. I don't get it.
Oh, man. Got a comment here from Veritas Evicta saying here, 2 straight years of the injury bug.
Hey, old guys get hurt a lot more. What can I tell you?
Not even that. Other teams have been significantly more impacted by injury than our team.
That's true.
I don't think we were impacted very much by injury this year.
Well, no. Pelech was a pretty big impact, but the difference is other teams have more depth in the organization and can recover from injuries. This team, the way they're constituted, does not.
I don't think we were impacted a fraction. We were not impacted as much, not even a fraction as much or you look at the players injured, the valuable players injured on this team were out for a fraction of the time of other valuable players for other teams. Yeah. Like Carolina with Max Pacioretty, they originally intended on him being a big piece. Played 5 games. That was it. You look at how many games did Washington miss there? John Carlson missed over a month.
Still out. He's still out. I
was going to say month and a half. You're looking at Nick Backstrom's been out since, he was out for about a good solid 2.5, 3 months. Same with Tom Wilson. St. Orloff missed weeks on weeks. Some teams have missed very valuable players for a long time period, and I don't hear Washington bitching about that's my thing. We haven't been hit with the injury bug. Every single team in the NHL incurs injuries. Every single team.
Well, I just had one thing. If your team is derailed by Adam Pelech missing a month and a half, your team's not good enough.
Washington should be on I don't know. Washington might go only winning 2 games out of 13 because John Carlson. Oh, wait a second. John Carlson's already been out for a month and a half. And, well, isn't it crazy? They're still winning more games and accruing more points with a much better defenseman being out of the lineup. Oh, my brain.
It's all right, TJ. Calm down.
Too much thinking hurts, Grumpy. Nick C, Grumpy.
I like Gil. I enjoy.
I'm not trying to come at Veritas. I'm just like people using the injuries as excuse just drive me nuts.
Nick C says, Gil, I enjoy your pod. Always level-headed. A lot like this one.
I was about to say, this is, I'm sure, a very big difference coming on this show. The level-headedness sometimes goes right out the window on this show.
It is different, but it is fun.
That's it. That's it. Oh, we just need a fun anyway.
Feed the rage machine and have fun. Millennial Meltdown.
Says, fire TJ, hire Son X.
There it is. Look at Tony Cheese, Grumpy.
Son X is a fan favorite, and he hasn't even made an appearance. You think he's a favorite now? Just wait. Fun X is he's a ball of wax. It might take him a little while to get going, but watch out. When Son, here's what you're gonna. This is my prediction for when Son X is on the show. I'm gonna have to tell him to stop picking on TJ. That will come during the show. I'm gonna tell him knock it off. God. Because he goes too far. He's one of those guys where if you give him a hangnail, he's going to take a machete and cut your arm off. He's one of those type guys. The loose cannon.
Doug R. Grumpy.
I still do not see why Horvat would sign an extension until he goes out on the open market to see what else he can get and where else he could go. Yeah, I don't understand it either. As Gil mentioned earlier, this is his one chance to cash in. You absolutely want to see what's out there. I wouldn't just, oh, sure, Islanders traded for me, I'm going to sign here. I would never do that. He's going to have he's what, the number one, certainly one of the top 5 guys on the market, without a doubt. You do the tour. You see whichever teams you want to go to. You never know. Maybe there's other areas that you like even better than Long Island. I don't even know if he likes Long Island. How many times has he been here? 5 or 6 times his whole life? I mean, come on. Maybe he thinks that the Islanders are New York City. I don't know.
It's close enough. And got a comment here from Rain Grumpy.
Grumpy old man seems even more angry after that horrendous Islanders trade. I don't think I've been angry today. I think I've been very relaxed, actually.
I think you've been more calm. I mean, let me ask you. Go ahead, Grump.
Yeah. All right. What do you think?
No, I was about to say, Gil, let me ask you, are you a guy who, when you get angry, I mean, like when you're getting angry on the show, how often are you just letting it loose, tearing into the team? How often? Because we very rarely ever tear into the team. We very rarely speak negatively about the team. But how often do you do that, Gil, for new individuals who are just being exposed to the Locked on Isles podcast?
I mean, I will be critical. I will question players who I don't think are giving good effort. I will question coaching decisions. I will question line combinations. I have questioned the overall talent level and direction of this team. But, at the same time, am I going to rip a guy? Well, I'll call a guy out when he makes a stupid penalty, which means I've been calling a bunch of guys out a lot this year for lazy and foolish penalties. But I try to be even-handed. I don't want to be a homer, but I don't want to be just critical either. I want to call it the way I see it, and I want to be as even-handed as I can be and as objective as I can be, even though, like everyone else, I'm still a fan.
Sounds just like me.
There you go.
See?
You have been extremely positive, Grumpy, despite your name, the Grumpy Old Man.
Very positive. Very positive. Yeah. Now, I will, I do have nicknames for players on the team, so,
very endearing nicknames.
Tommy Baffy says the objective of ownership right now is to keep the team watchable, even if we're in the middle of the pack, to try and keep as many fans as possible as season ticket holders. Good freaking luck. This is not about the Stanley Cup. This is about greed till they sell. Don't even start. We're just going to ignore that comment.
Yeah, till they sell, Grumpy. I told you, they're the fucking property brothers. They don't give a shit about the team's success besides how it can turn them an immediate dollar, and they're going to leave.
There's a reason why Tommy Baffy is not on the show anymore.
Oh, stop. He's coming on. Coach Tom. Oh, we didn't even talk about our vacation. When we get back from vacation, Coach Tommy B is going to be on.
Oh, God.
We go on vacation. We'll be on. Are we going to do a show this Saturday, Grumpy?
I don't know.
Think, McFly. Think, Grump.
So let me just get back to why Tommy Baffy's not on the show anymore. Because I had to do something, and I would think it was something happened where I had to do something.
Somebody was going on the go away party from somebody going overseas or going.
That's right. And he's in the military, so we had a little party for him. So I got on the show late, and when I came on, TJ and Tommy Baffy were going on about how the Islanders are selling the team, and that's like a done deal. I'm like, we can't let the morons, hang out, be but them little cells. They get kind of like that a little bit, and all of a sudden we're selling the team. No.
Would not be a bad option at this point, Grumpy. Anyway, we are going to be gone. When do we get back, Grumpy? Are you going to have it
Super Bowl
this
Sunday?
Saturday?
Super Bowl Sunday is when we get back.
Okay, so definitely next Saturday we will not be having a show, and
not
next Wednesday, not next Wednesday, and not next Saturday. So we're talking just for everybody who's got their planners at home. We will not be having a show February the 8th or February the 11th. Should I have waited until like an hour and 30 minutes in the show to discuss this? Probably not. But we will not be having a show February 8th or February the 11th. We may have a show this Saturday. It depends.
And Gil, do you see why I say he just mails it in? That should have been a housekeeping item done right off the top. But no.
Yeah.
Now,
Horvat or Borat. For hockey, I probably pick Borat. For comedy, Bo Horvat.
What were you about to say, Gil? Before
I just wanted to mention, when you guys do get back from your vacation, I'm going to have you on my show as well. So people should look forward to that. We haven't set a final date yet, but I'm looking forward to having you guys on my show sometime after you get back in February.
You better watch out. You're going to lose that reputation for being, what was it? It was really nice, like level-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just maybe you should put up a warning before. It's not your normal podcast.
I am the individuals I associate with do not carry the same opinions and beliefs that I carry. Welcome to the show, Locked on Islanders. David Sean says, "Thank God for Gil."
Wow, Gil, man, I tell you what, you get a lot of love.
I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it.
Mikey D, Grumpy.
Grump, put the Metro teams in tiers. Tier 1 is Carolina. Tier 1. Tier 1A is Carolina. Tier 2 is Devils and Rangers. Tier 3 is Washington and Pittsburgh. Tier 4 is us. And Tier 5 is Philadelphia and Columbus.
Wow.
I think I got all the teams in there.
We're only one tier above Columbus and the Flyers, Grump.
Yeah, but I think we're a cut ahead of them. I do.
Good gracious. Oh.
I mean, right? I mean, we're not lying. If you were going to do a head-to-head, I mean, Pittsburgh, the only thing that keeps us in against Pittsburgh and Washington is Sorokin. That's it. We don't match up with any of the other teams if we don't have Sorokin.
You know what I've kind of been thinking about, which is odd, and this is not changing subjects too much. Do you think if we went on that 2-game winning streak before the All-Star break, do you think we still trade for Horvat? Do you think if we had won 1 game out of 14, do you think we would have still traded for Bo Horvat?
I don't even want to talk about it because then I'll really be pissed off.
No, I do. I want to play into this, Gil. I want Gil's opinion. It's a weird question. I want Grumpy. You don't have to worry about answering. I'm interested what Gil's opinion is.
In my opinion, Lou's going to do what Lou's going to do. I don't think it would have mattered if they would have split those 2 games, lost those 2 games, or as they ended up doing, winning those 2 games. He was going to try to salvage this season. He's been talking about making a hockey trade for 1.5 years. Now it just finally happened.
Well, so there you go, Grumpy. Gil thinks, hey, it was going to happen either way.
Okay.
Are you thinking, Grumpy, maybe something else would have happened if we lost those last 2 games?
I think if we lost those last 2 games, they just mail it in. Nope, can't do it. But I don't think he would have done anything. Here's what I'm afraid our offseason is going to be. We re-signed Scott Mayfield, $5 million per for 5 years. Who else? We're going to re-sign Parise for another extension, even though he's toast now. He's cashed. Who else is up? Do we have anybody else up? Varley. He's absolutely coming back. He already leaked. Oh, yes, I want to come back. Oh, I don't need to play as much. I'll take a pay cut. I just like being here. He's part of the cul-de-sac crew now. I play another 10, 15 years here on the island. Don't have to win anything. Don't even have to play games. I don't care. Just like it here.
I'm telling you, Grump. I'm telling you. The cul-de-sac crew. The cul-de-sac crew. Rain, Grumpy.
Wait, you guys actually have
Aatu Raty as a prospect, don't you? Oh, wait. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone now. Brett W. says, now there's a rumor that Lou's going to double down and get Tarasenko. I have been seeing the rumors of Tarasenko.
Well, supposedly,
according to Tarasenko and a defenseman, maybe.
According to Tommy Baffy, a couple of years ago, we could have had Tarasenko for Bolduc and a second-round pick. And that
was right when
we have that now, don't we? Bolduc and a second-round pick.
There it is. Can we go back and say we're coming to cash in this voucher that you offered us 2 years ago?
Maybe. Didn't have an expiration date on it, right?
Expiration? No, it did not, Grumpy. We're cashing it in. There it is. Hey, can we go ahead? We'll get him, and then we'll look for a defenseman. We can give up our entire – we're going to offer – who the hell was it? Was it Ryan Murray, who we tried to offer our entire draft for many years ago?
That was Garth Snow, yeah.
Can we bring Garth Snow back on a one-day deal just to offer a Ryan Murray contract for a defenseman? Maybe that's up there. We'll offer the entire 2024 draft for, a rental defenseman.
You know what? All I got to say is
we're going to win then, guys. We can't possibly lose.
Love or hate Garth Snow, he didn't get fleeced on deals.
He never would have done something this ridiculous.
He absolutely would not have. Everyone would have been traded. Everyone would have been gone. All those guys, we wouldn't have an old team like this.
No.
Wouldn't be very good, but we wouldn't have an old team.
This entire team is Garth Snow's team.
Yeah.
This is Garth Snow's team. That's the sad truth of it. This is the Garth Snow team.
This is the youngest player. Bo Horvat is the youngest player. Well, no.
Lou Lamoriello is traded for.
Well, no. We brought in Romanoff.
Well, yeah.
But Romanoff plays like he's 32. So
Romanoff plays like he should be playing in the KHL. Doesn't play like he should be playing NHL hockey.
Yeah. Like I said, I really didn't know about him on draft night. TJ lost his mind. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I listened back to it, Grumpy, in its entirety. It's really not great. I was like, I had a very big reaction to it. I was like,
yeah, TJ was like ridiculous. You can always tell when TJ's really angry. He starts throwing F-bombs around like they're just like frisbees. He was off the chain. It was honestly, it was ridiculous.
Well, Gil, what was your first?
It was ridiculous.
What was your first reaction when we traded for Romanoff? First reaction, initial gut reaction when you heard on
my initial gut reaction. I wasn't surprised that Lou traded another first-round draft pick. That was my reaction. Surprised it was for Romanoff, but I guess. One, I was not surprised that Lou traded the pick. And number two, at least he was younger because the defense core, especially last year when we had Chara, and Green, we needed the defense core to get younger. So those were my first two initial reactions.
Okay. Well, I guess here's the thing. I guess I just need to accept more what Lou's going to do all the time, and it'll be less upset.
You need to be less
low expectations.
No expectations. You need to be less, what's the word I want to use? Not involved, but like where the team making these moves, like you live through the team, you got to stop that. Look at it just like as a bad movie. That's what you have to look at, is like we're a B movie right now. That's what the Islanders are. But for me, that trade was, everyone said, I didn't even know who Romanoff was. And then somebody said, because I don't watch a whole lot of Montreal games. Like, he was the best defenseman Montreal had. And I watched Montreal play this year. I'm like, okay, that's not saying anything because they're like the worst defensive team I've seen. So, that was we was kind of sold a bill of goods there.
Oh, man.
It's like saying I'm the best defender on Montreal's team. Yeah. What does that mean? I suck too. So, yeah.
Or the best goal scorer on the Islanders?
That's it. I could be just like Chara. Just stand out there like a pylon. Goon says, Grumpy, would you have preferred Horvat or Gaudreau? Here's the thing. We could have had both. How about both? If you're going to go all in, go all in. If you're not, like, what did they say? What did Trotz and Lamoriello say 2 years ago? Do you remember? Stanley Cup or bust. And what did they do in the offseason? Chara and Parise. So you knew it was a bust right from the get-go, right? If it's Stanley Cup or bust, you go in. 2 years ago, we wanted Tarasenko. We wanted him on this team. I almost messed that name up, DJ. We wanted Tarasenko.
Almost again?
Yeah, that's a you thing, by the way.
Yeah, that's a
you
thing.
This offseason, why not go all in for Johnny Gaudreau? Why not? He could play with Matt Barzal. I was all for Johnny Gaudreau. And then you bring in Horvat too. Why not? If you're going to go all in, go all in. Don't just put like your foot in the water. It's not good enough.
Oh, good gracious. What about you, Gil? Who would you have rather had, Bo Horvat or Johnny Gaudreau?
All right. I think Gaudreau would have been better for this team, but I think Horvat, in many ways, is more of a Lou Lamoriello kind of a player. He's more responsible defensively than Gaudreau. They're roughly the same age, right? Give or take a year. So that's not really a factor. But I think Horvat fits what Lou likes in a player a little bit more than Gaudreau, although I think Gaudreau would have fit more needs for the Islanders as to what they don't have on their roster rather than Horvat. And you also have to take into consideration that before this year, Horvat just had one really strong offensive season. He was pretty good, but didn't top 30 goals until last year. So the fact that he did it again this year kind of changes the equation a little bit.
Well, if you listen to a lot of people who think that players get better as they get into their 30s, I tend to disagree.
Like fine wine, right?
Yeah. No, they don't age like fine wine. They age like vinegar.
Oh, man.
I haven't used that one in a while, right, DJ?
You haven't. A good old callback. Freedom, fun, and adventure, Grumpy.
Evening, all. Guys, I want to help you get some more sponsors and grow the show. Submit clips of draft night and the last show of those online mental health counseling sites and get ready to count the cash.
Oh, there.
Actually, yes, I think that's true. If we clip some of the insane ramblings that have gone on in this show and say, you too can get help from, and then you put us back on, yeah, we've been helped by blah, 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 psychiatric center. I think that would work. I used to be this. Now I'm this. And then we can have Gil talk because he's very level-headed.
Gil will be the guy like when they come and set aside where it's like,
he's the after.
Oh no, he comes in there and he's doing the infomercial. We're the help, Grumpy, or we got the help.
No. Okay. You're trying comedy again. That's a fail for you.
How don't you sit there and watch TV, Grumpy? All right, yeah, get out of here. State of survival, Grump.
Are we also trading 2024's first to get a winger now? No.
Who knows?
Don't give Lou any ideas. That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you, more picks are going to be going by the wayside.
Islanders should acquire another Finnish prospect. In this case, Brad Lambert.
Well, we could have had a chance to drop back on that first round and pick them up, but we got Romanoff instead.
There you go. Everyone's happy.
Doug R. Grumpy.
If the Islanders fall out of it and keep the protected pick, what percentage do you give that Lou will trade it before the draft? 100%?
97%.
No.
Yes.
If we are so bad that we drop into the bottom 12, no, he's not trading that pick. You cannot convince me he's going to trade that pick at the draft time. You just can't. You just can't. It's like, how desperate are you to give away this draft pick in a deep draft? I mean, you tried to trade it once, you could double down on trading it? No, it can't happen. Peter Sikora is still available.
Gracious. Oh, man. I don't know. I think if we somehow drop into that spot, I think you're looking at least about a 60% chance he trades that pick.
Okay. The only thing that's saving this trade for a lot of people is because, well, if we're really bad, we still have the first round draft pick. That's the only thing that's keeping them on the boat, on the, the ledge of the building right now. The ledge of the Empire State Building. They've taken down the glass barricades. You're allowed to walk out there with the pigeons. But here's the thing. If he trades that pick, the pitchforks are coming out, and he's a goner.
I don't think we're not bad enough to be a bottom. Even before this trade, we weren't bad enough to be bottom 12.
No, it'll be this year's pick.
Yep.
Sorokin won't let us be bottom 12.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe he can get injured. Maybe he can get an injury.
That's the best thing for the Islanders. That's the best. Well, here's the thing. Well, actually, we've gone ahead and we've doubled down on the team. It's it's kind of past the point of no return. Maybe, oof, God. The only thing is that Sorokin injury would prevent Lou Lamoriello from doing something bold and ridiculous. What other bold nonsense can Lou Lamoriello do, though? That's the question. How much more damage can he wreak on this team in the next month?
Gil, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Have you ever seen the movie And Justice for All with Al Pacino?
Long time ago, but yeah.
Do you remember the scene where Jack Warden flies the helicopter? Lou Lamoriello is Jack Warden in this. And he says, I like to go to the halfway point and then just a little bit further. He's like, and Al Pacino's losing his mind. I'm like Al Pacino in that seat. And here's Lou. I'd like to trade these first-round draft picks and then just give up a little bit more. It's like, no, please don't do it. And the thing just about crashes and burns at the end. And yeah, well, whatever. I just thought I just want to talk about that movie. I haven't talked about it in a while. TJ has no idea what I'm talking about.
I was trying to pull it up, but I forgot the name as soon as you said it.
Justice for All.
You know what? And Justice for All.
And Justice for All. ... And
right.
Justice for All.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to get this.
You won't be able to find that. That's. I mean, it was interesting, but Jack Warden was really good. Jack Warden was really good in that, just describing it. Oh yeah, just like to take it as far as I can, and then a little bit further.
Yeah, the scene's like.
We're out of gas. We just got to coast in now with a helicopter. I don't remember helicopters coasting real good. I don't know. Okay.
Frank
says, Horvat will get overpaid by loser Lou. This team is effed for the next 7 to 10 years. That's right out of TJ's mouth. Devil's just recovering now from his incompetence. Here's the thing. When somebody else comes in, you got to get a little bit of luck. But you could turn a team from like where we are now to a full rebuild within 5 years. You can do that. You just got to be smart.
Okay.
We have pieces that are sustainable here. We do.
If you're rebuilding, and this is why I don't think a Horvat, people are like, oh, well, even if we rebuild, Horvat's still a step in the right direction. No, it's not.
Horvat isn't
because the rebuild doesn't. Not if you're rebuilding. Absolutely not. He's 28 years old in April. Again, you're not saying great.
We're building. I mean, you look at his face. He's a young 28.
Yeah, that's it. He's a young
27 and a half.
But he's a guy who's had injury problems in the past. Anyway, even if you sign him long term, it's not going to go ahead and solve the problem, right? Because as your team gets through the rebuild, you're still looking 4 to 5+ years down the road. What is he then? Best case, we're not rebuilding as soon as the offseason starts. So what? You're looking at a 33, 34, 35-year-old Bo Horvat? That's not the answer, guys.
You know what you don't do? You don't give him a no trade clause or a no move clause like the imbecile is prone to do.
I don't know. He does that with every single guy who's up to having free agency is available.
But what I'm saying is you shouldn't do that. That'd be another epic fail on his part. This way, if a guy, okay, the rebuild is coming a little bit slower or whatever, he's a leader type, right? Dustin Brown played I think he's still with the Kings, isn't he? I mean, he gave up the C, but he's still a leader out there. He's 36, 37 years old. You can have a guy like that be part of your team to help the younger guys develop. Average will be gone by then, thank goodness. But you can still have a guy like Horvat. I have no problem with that. I like the player. I don't like what we gave up. I don't like the direction of the team, what this trade indicates. That's the disappointing thing for me, but I do like the player.
Oh, there it is. We got here a comment from AP.
So glad you have Gil on. I listen to him regularly. He's got an honest perspective. Look at that, Gil. You're getting a lot of cred, man. A lot of street cred you got.
A lot of street cred.
Nobody ever says that we have an honest perspective here. That's for certain.
Scott L. Grumpy.
I have a feeling Horvat will be another Vanacek and Ryan Smith. That would be catastrophic.
Yep.
Vanek. Yeah.
It doesn't matter who. Who did I say?
Vanacek, like Vitek Vanacek.
Yeah, well, he sucks too, so no problem there. So yeah, Vanek and Ryan Smith. I think he's gone at the end of this year anyway. Lamoriello. I think they're going to slide Fredo into that seat. But what the fans need to do when Fredo gets hired, they need to just go, Fredo. He'll be gone out of there before the end of the year. He won't have the rope that Lamoriello has. That's what then Papa Lou has. If Fredo comes in.
Lou. We were talking about it earlier. You guys have some legitimate fear, both of you, about possibly Fredo Lamoriello being the general manager this offseason after Lou steps away. Now, Gil also shares the same fear as Grumpy.
Who does? You believe that also?
I think it's very possible, yeah.
What another blunder. I mean, if it wasn't for his dad, he'd probably be working at Enterprise Car Rental saying, next. I mean, that's what he'd be doing. Because he's never gotten a job on his own, not one. Come right out of college. The college that he went to Providence, right?
I believe.
Yeah, so he got, he's a legacy from, at Providence College where his dad used to coach hockey there. So his dad got him a scholarship there. He played there, probably nondescriptly for a number of years. Then he comes out right to the Devils. Somehow he moves up the chain in miraculous fashion, record speed. Oh, that's right. His dad's the GM, director of hockey operations. Dad loses his job. Whoop, right off to Toronto with the dad. I guess the kid was so good that, he moved to Toronto. No, don't think so. Then he loses his job there. What happened? Lou, hey, Bettman, Fredo needs a job. The Islanders suck. Put him in the GM spot. He's with the GM down in Utica when we were, we're training him for a GM spot. So give him to the Islanders. They suck anyway. It doesn't matter. Just put him there. I'll be there in a couple of years. Lou goes there next, and there's Fredo. He's been in daddy's pocket his whole life. Get out of there, Fredo.
God almighty. Oh, man. Rain, Grumpy.
If Horvat doesn't resign, this might be one of the worst trades in history. There are other ones that have been worse.
Yeah.
There have been.
But it won't be a good one, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. It won't be a good one. People have so much recency bias. No.
Yeah, I don't think
I heard Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time today. If you can imagine that. Come back to me in 15 years and then talk to me, okay?
Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback of all time. Gotta love it. You gotta love it.
He couldn't beat a 40-year-old man in the playoffs ever. Freedom Fund Adventure says how to improve the organization. Re-sign Horvat. Trade everyone not important for value. Restock the system while making the team harder, faster, and more skilled. I love everything this locker room loses a guy. Love everything this locker room loses a guy. Okay, I don't understand the end, but hey, it doesn't matter. Let's talk about the things that do matter, Gil. What do you think about this particular? I think it's okay, but yeah. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that's something that Lou Lamoriello would do necessarily. Now, would his son do it or whoever his successor is going to be? We don't know that yet. But I think that's the direction that the organization should go in. But will it? That's the $64 question.
Now, something you mentioned about would Fredo do it. You know what Fredo usually does in Bridgeport? He brings a bunch of 32, 34-year-olds and plays them on top lines for a losing team. I mean, tell me that's not the epitome of what this organization's become.
Well, look, in the AHL, you need that balance. You need to have some of those veterans to mentor the young guys, and then guys who are career AHLers, and then you need your prospects. Problem is this organization doesn't have enough good prospects right now to fill out a roster. So, yeah, it's a problem.
Big problem.
Got a comment here from brother number 3. It's been a while, brother number 3. But the Islanders are on pace for 87 points, missing a wild card by 7 points. 5 total games left against 2 current wild card holders. By my math, win 3 of those 5 games, and the Islanders are in a good spot to grab the wild card. Go! Don't worry. Tommy B also broke down some math. Coach Tommy B says the Islanders need to play and need to have a
67% winning percentage to reach 95 points and maybe reach the number 8 spot. Highly unlikely.
we've got to come away with, out of the possible points, out of possible every 2 points every night, we have to come away with at least 67% of those available points. Do we feel confident Bo Horvat will change that? We were at like 51% just not too long ago. So what do you think? We're just going to have the 15 or 16 point swing from Bo Horvat?
It won't be easy. It won't be. But one thing this team hasn't done yet that they did in the 2 years they made the long playoff runs, we haven't seen that 7-1-1 streak from this team this year. I don't know if they're good enough to do it, but if you want to get to that 667% of points for the rest of the year, you're going to need one of those, winning 6 out of 8 with an overtime loss thrown in order to get there.
TJ, do we want to bring up the tail end of our schedule? Because I'm interested just to see what it looks like.
I've got
to see what are our chances of winning 2 out of 3 games in that tail end of the schedule.
The more I talk to Phil, the more I think you're right, Grumpy. He tries to manipulate everything he sees to fit his narrative.
He was telling me.
Phil was telling me.
Goof.
Now, Phil was telling me, Grumpy, that
oh my God, why do
we have lost games alone because of our power play. Sure, maybe, yeah, absolutely. There's a possibility that some games where our power play doesn't show up, that it could have been one of the reasons we lost. That also being said, he was telling me that Bo Horvat, that's going to fix the power play, and now that's going to go ahead, and those games we were losing, we're going to start winning those games, Grumpy. It's that simple.
Phil is simple. And Phil knows I love him, but come on, Phil. His thing. This is not my first rodeo, Phil.
You want to look at the easy portion here? Oh, let me pop this.
No, I want to look at the tail end of the schedule because that's important.
Well, no, remember the tail end of the schedule gets tough, but all those teams have already qualified for the playoffs by then, so they're going to start playing their backups.
Okay,
that's what Phil was saying too.
Okay. Well,
let's pull it up here.
What the heck?
You want to look at just the last month, or how far back into April? Or
well, let's start. We'll start with the Maple Leafs, right?
Okay, sure.
That's a loss. They're going to be fighting with Tampa for the 2 seed, 3 seed. Blue Jackets should be a win. Sabres, that'll be a loss. Devils, that's a loss. Capitals, loss. Lightning, loss. Hurricanes, that counts as 2 losses. Lightning again, there's another loss. Flyers, we should be able to beat them. Capitals, by then we're out of the playoffs. It doesn't matter what our playoff position, what our
we've already traded away the first overall pick or first round pick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so by then, but I mean, we're going to lose all those games to the tough teams. Why? Because they're really good and we're not. When was the last time we beat the Lightning?
2020, I believe. When was the last time we played them in the postseason?
I was stunned that we beat the Hurricanes 1 game this year. Stunned.
When we did, I was kind of taken back by it as well. I was like, holy shit.
Well, they just came off a 5-game road trip, and they were scuffling a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
But we saw what happened last time we played them. By the way, Carolina's on a 7-game winning streak.
Do they want a beating? They want a winning tonight?
Yep.
Okay. Do we really have to worry about Carolina at this point, though? We're not catching them.
No, I know. No, I'm just talking about if we have to play them in the playoffs.
Right.
If we slither into the playoffs. E Major says, will you guys be salty if Beauvillier comes to the rink next Thursday with a full beard? I don't think he can grow a full beard. He's got a real baby face, so I'm going to say he probably cannot grow a full beard. That should be a good game to watch, though. I mean, I got to think Beauvillier will get cheered. Horvat will be emotional. And we should beat Vancouver. Gosh, we can't lose to Vancouver, right?
Wouldn't that be great?
To me, the season ended when we lost to Ottawa. That was it.
Season
I could care less that we beat the Golden Knights. I could care less. Didn't matter.
Was I cheering for injuries not too long ago? I think I was. I think I said that.
Come on, you guys. You all can't seriously be rooting for injuries here. Now, come on, guys, on your club. That's some BS right there.
I look at this, Gil. I'm sorry. Just by associating with us, now you're getting lumped in that you're cheering for injuries. I think I did mention that maybe Sorokin going down would help the team further cement ourselves into the loserdom that we have. So, it will prevent Lou from doing any crazy and mad things. So maybe he could just get stomach cramps or like the flu or something and keep him out for enough time to put us a few losses. Okay. Nothing serious, JP. I'm not saying he goes out there and snaps an ankle. Nothing serious, of course. Just a little upset stomach. I don't know.
You can't.
Anyway.
Okay.
What, Grumpy?
Nothing.
You can't what?
Can't root for injuries. Can't root for players to get hurt.
Grumpy's about to say something completely funny. What are you about to say, Grumpy?
Nothing. Move on to the next comment. Jeff Elmer says, all this doom and gloom and the numbers to make the 8th spot. Why are we even Islander fans? Sounds like we all should just find another team to root for. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Jeff, let me ask you this. Are you excited when I say maybe we have a chance to fight for the 8th playoff spot? Are you excited? Maybe we could be the 16th best team in the NHL. Does that make you excited? It doesn't for me. Maybe that makes people excited. The goal for this team is never just to make the postseason. The goal is to win the cup. We've made it and squeaked in years past. We also had a Hall of Fame caliber head coach at those time periods. This is not Barry Trotz. This is not the Barry Trotz style and system. We were able to frustrate and aggravate teams in the postseason in the past. We're not going to have that same luxury because we play more of like the current NHL style, just with older and antiquated players. We're not going to have the same exact frustrating. I mean, like, what do you think if we make the postseason, right? Do you think that we're going to have, what do you think we'll have the same postseason success we've had in the past, Gil?
The big question is this. One thing under Barry Trotz, they never had to change their system. They played a playoff style all year long. Most NHL teams tighten up, get more physical, play more defensive oriented come playoff time. We don't know if they get in, whether or not Lane Lambert sticks with what he's doing now or adjusts to a more playoff style of hockey. So to me, that's a little bit of an unknown.
Then you better trade for somebody to replace Romanov if you want somebody to be solid defensively in his own zone.
Oh gosh, there it is. Hold on. Drew did send us a meme, Grumpy. I'll let you read this one. I'll have that pulled up for you. But Rain, Grump.
This was a draft class that you shouldn't be trading your first in. A mistake by the Islanders. Even if it was the 20th overall pick, it was never going to be the 20th. It's going to be way better than that. This draft is too deep to give up your first. 100% agree.
Yep. Here it is. Here it is, Grumpy. The comment says, TJ. Was that?
Our old friend Donald Trump rears his head once again.
Oh, a meme-worthy individual, and
he certainly is. Oh, is there video?
Yes, there are letters. TJ and Grumpy to Ledecky and Malkin about Lou Lamoriello when they run into him at UBS Arena.
Can I predict what it's going to say?
What do you think it's going to say, Grumpy?
You're fired. You're fired.
It's the same memes that always get pushed around, but let's listen.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired.
Yes.
He's fired.
Fired.
See you later, Lou Lamoriello. It could have been anything. It could have been Vince McMahon. You're fired. They're all
keeps on giving. We could put anything up there and just play that meme. It works.
You're fired.
Tommy asked a question. He usually doesn't ask questions. What is a worse occurrence? Being at an airport for a bomb threat, which I was over a week ago at Palm Beach International Airport, or watch Lou make trades and ruin your organization? I choose the bomb threat option. I agree. Because if there is a bomb threat and they delay some flights, you could kick back, take a nap. When you finally wake up, you still have a hockey team that's worth watching.
Yep.
If you just go the Lou Lamoriello route.
Amen.
The worst thing, if you're in the bomb threat, you could dream that he did it. Then reality kicks in. It's even worse.
And then you can have, it's like
bomb threat or Lou Lamoriello decimating the team.
Now, just to clarify, that's a bomb threat, no real bomb, right?
Just a threat. Just a threat.
Just a threat.
Just a threat. Yeah, the threat is probably
the lesser of two evils, shall we say?
Right.
Yeah.
Tony Cheese says, Gil looks like he files his taxes on time. I like Gil, says Tony
There you
Cheese.
go.
Goon Goon says
He's got a
Gil.
good face, right?
There it is. He's got a trustworthy face, Grumpy. He
Gil,
says,
what made you choose the Islanders over the Rangers? Okay, that's a good question.
I'm a Long Island guy. How's that?
There you go.
well, you'll be happy to know that you are sitting with a closeted Ranger fan. You're talking with a closeted Ranger fan tonight. That's myself. I've been branded as a closeted Ranger fan. Couldn't tell you why, but I do get accused of that every so often.
Freedom Fun Adventure says, Grump, I love these comments. Grump is 100% correct. I automatically like it. I don't even know what it is. Doesn't even matter. We have seen this movie before. No effort except just before the deadline. Regime change, yes. Remember.
Yep. Last year we just sticked around, didn't put forth a lot of effort, and then when the deadline came up,
obvious.
Anders Lee's knee surgery, remember? He just happened to start bouncing back magically at that time. And then, for 3 weeks, and then his knee injury kind of came back a bit. And he couldn't do it again. What's his
excuse this year when he never gets into the defensive zone? Just circles around center ice.
His excuse is going to be the guy sharpening his skates, not doing a good enough job.
There you go.
Sal P. Grumpy.
Hey, look at that shirt Sal P's got on there, TJ. Good evening, guys. The cul-de-sac crew would make a great T-shirt concept. I would wear that.
He is wearing a Maddie and the Jag shirt. Sal P is.
And if people wanted to buy those shirts, where would they go, TJ?
You can go to the link in the description below where it's got the Islanders Never Say Die merchandise store. Yeah, I didn't give Sal the usual run I give him where I pump him up because he's wearing some of our merchandise. I'm just so defeated still from this Bo Horvat trade, Grumpy.
Don't worry, Sal. I got your back.
There it is.
Tommy Pappy says Ratu is a future top 6 forward at 20. Losing him is a big deal.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. He's a guy. That's why it's like when people
he's the only forward in your whole organization that you could say this kid's gonna be pretty good.
When people say, I think maybe he could be a number 3 center, I'm like, the guy's playing in the NHL at 20 years old, first full year playing North American sized ice on North American sized ice. I'm like, he's going to be a number 2 guy, no doubt in my mind.
He's not afraid to mix it up along the boards, which a lot of Europeans, or skilled Europeans, are kind of loath to do. So
yeah.
Anthony Rizzi says there's no chance we make the playoffs, and that's a no with a capital N freaking O. No chance we make the playoffs with Buffalo and Pittsburgh ahead of us with 3 games in hand. Buffalo now is still ahead of us, but they only have 2 games in hand with 1 point lead.
Yeah, we're going to pass Buffalo.
Don't we play Carolina again this year? I know Carolina's coming up. We got an ass kicking coming from Carolina pretty soon, don't we?
We probably do. Who the hell knows? I'll look it up. Nick D. Grumpy.
Gil, your podcast is the perfect length of time when I'm driving to my first stop at work. Our podcast is the perfect length of time if you're taking a cross-country trip.
Or flying to Florida, right?
There it is. Yes. You could download it ahead of time. That's right.
Thanks, Nick.
Nick D there, Grumpy.
Nick D says Lou is like a desperate man looking for a date at a club. The only dates he has at clubs now are, like the kind that you eat. So he's regular. He'll do anything to win a cup in his last year of his contract / career. You know what? I remember Evander Holyfield kept on fighting because he said, I wanted to win that heavyweight championship one more time. Well, he's 60 years old right now, or however old he is. He ain't winning one anytime soon. And guess what? Lou's not winning one either. Sorry, Lou.
Not wrong. We play Carolina next April the 2nd.
One more time
towards the tail end of the season.
Can't wait for that game.
Pony Boy Curtis.
Curtis says, Islanders never say die is always and will always be my number 1, but Locked on Isles is a close number 2. What the hell do you mean close? Pony Boy. My close number 2.
Rick Grump. Rick Rock.
Rick Rock. What a bizarre all-star game coming. Haven't seen 3 Islanders as all-stars in many years. Horvat versus Sorokin. That's like arm wrestling yourself.
That's right.
Is the
3 Islanders in the all-star game.
We do.
I mean, all-star game means nothing. NFL All-Star game. You know how you know it means nothing? Snoop Dogg and who else? Who's the other clown? Their coaches. Stop. In a flag football contest. Stop.
Yeah, flag football, Grumpy.
I don't even know who the other person is. I forgot. Oh, maybe it's the Davidson kid. Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. Ugh, don't like him either.
Yeah, me neither. They both
Patrick H. Grumpy.
The only question I have is, should we ask for a special invitation to MSG when the parade rolls past Penn Station?
Almighty.
Patrick is very positive about the future of the Islanders. Good for you, Patrick. We love you.
Oh, man. Emmanuel R. Grumpy.
7 times 7 from Vancouver is only $49 million. I thought it was 7.5 they offered him. That's low. An 8x8 mil contract, which is reasonable. It's a total of 64 mil. Big difference. Okay, but is he worth $8 million a year? If you look at his numbers throughout his career, the answer is probably no.
He's never put up more than 61 points ever in a season.
You know who else has never done that? You know who else has never done that?
Who?
Your boy, Croc Nelson.
Croc Nelson's put up more than 61 points. Don't make me have to check your ass, Grump.
59.
Don't come at me, Grumpy. Don't make me check your ass on Brock.
Go to the next comment from the Italian kid.
You're actually right.
Hey, Grumpy. Guys.
Do you want me to finish? I don't have to. You're actually right on that, Grumpy. Brock Nelson, the most points he put up last year was 59.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know. That's why I'm the NHL analyst and expert on the show.
Okay, sure. There it is.
Cheap pop for myself. The BK Italian kid says, hey, guys, I think if Lou signs Horvat, the core will end up being Barzy, Horvat, Dobson, and Sorokin. I think that's a good start to rebuild around these guys in 3 years. The problem is, if you're starting a full rebuild in 3 years, those guys are going to be totally spent by the time we become good again. That's why you have a transition plan. That's why you don't re-sign guys like Kyle Palmieri, guys like Casey Zizekas, guys like Cal Clutterbuck. You don't re-sign them. You don't re-sign a Josh Bailey or a Scott Mayfield. You transition to the younger guys. That's how you keep. That's why you're a contender every year, not just for. Well, I never thought we were contenders since we had to play Tampa, but not for 2 years out of 30. There's a reason.
And part of the problem is that Lou always overpays the bottom 6 forwards and the bottom pair defensemen. And then all of a sudden, when you want to try to get one of these high-paid, top-scoring forwards, there's no space under the cap to get them. And you end up losing a Devon Taves and guys like that.
Don't start.
For pennies. Yeah.
Don't start, please.
But you're right. Think about it.
Could have moved Letty instead. Chose not to.
Think about it, though. If you start a rebuild.
You keep a Devon Taves. Think about how much better your defense is now. You let go of a guy who was 25 for a guy who was 30 or 24 and 29. Just,
if you start a rebuild 3 years from now around that core, Bo Horvat is already 31 years old when the rebuild starts. When your rebuild starts to finally round out, he's 36. He's cashed. He's finished. This isn't like a Patrick Elias out there. It's Bo Horvat. And Matt Barzal would be, 28 years old or wherever. He'll be like 28, 29 years old by the time the rebuild starts. I'm like, when you rebuild, you are going to sell Sorokin. He'll be 30 when the rebuild starts. He's not going to say, yeah, I'm happy sticking around when I'm 31, 32, 33, 34 years old on a team that's miserable. He's going to be like, please trade me.
Lamoriello set the franchise back.
That's what I said. Set them back. He set it back from where it could have been a retool or a 2 or 3 year revamp could have done it, now to where we're at least a 5 to 7 year rebuild process when they finally start. Best case scenario, 5, probably 7. Patrick H. Grumpy.
Ask TJ if the Islanders would have been better off if Lou just died before the trade.
I never would say something like that.
You said it on Monday night.
No, I said it. You
said it on Monday night. That's exactly
what you said. I said that would help the Islanders long term. That's it.
No. That's exactly
that would help the Islanders outlook long term. That's it.
Exactly what you said on Monday night.
I neither confirm nor deny. I deny that. I never said those words.
You did. I'd say, come on now.
Anyway, Adam P. Grumpy.
This podcast makes me feel sad, and I'm already a curmudgeon, more so than the grumpy old man. He's probably right, because actually, I'm really a fun guy to be around. I'm nothing but fun. But, hey.
Our Thursday and Sunday podcasts are not angry or sad at all. They're just fun, just screwing around. But like this show, unfortunately,
and here's the thing. If you think, here's the thing, wait till Sun X comes on the show. Sun X is going to carve TJ up. I just know he is. Sun X brings a whole lot of memes to the table. He already told me a couple that he sends TJ memes. TJ doesn't use them. Boy, that sounds familiar.
Oh my God. Fuck. It's Joseph C.
Joseph C. says the Sharks. What about the Jets? The Sharks are going to want draft picks and prospects from Meyer, not Croc Nelson. We're never getting Timo Meyer. Forget it. BK Italian Kid says also Sorokin being due for a contract and Lou doubling down makes me think he knows something we don't. Ugh, my God, please. Maybe Sorokin doesn't want to stay and he's trying to salvage a run before he leaves. Run to where? What do you do? Run to the bathroom because you got to go? Or what? We're not making a run at the Stanley Cup. Come on.
I don't have any fear that Sorokin wants to leave. Gil, do you have any fear of that?
I haven't heard anything to that effect yet, but if the team isn't winning when his contract comes due, if there's a couple of really bad years in between now and then, who knows?
I have heard some things. I've heard, but I don't understand Russian, so it doesn't matter.
Freedom Fund Adventure
says, Gil, give us your best case scenario for the organization from now and training camp.
Best case scenario is you sneak into the playoffs, you win a round or two. I can't imagine them going further than that, but best case scenario, you get into the playoffs and you go on a little bit of a run because you get hot at the right time. And then in the offseason, you somehow are able to jettison some of the more expensive veterans, whether it's by buying them out or trading them, start to restock your draft picks, and maybe speed up that retool or rebuild by trading away some of those undesirable contracts. But that's not going to be easy because in order to sell, you need a buyer.
And in your best case scenario, what happens regarding the general manager possible vacancy at the end of this? Does that have anything to play with this good scenario?
Well, I mean, I would like to see a change at general manager, and we'll see what ends up happening. But I do think this team does need a different direction, and whether or not Lamoriello Jr. would be the answer to that, I'm skeptical. But look, this team, I think, needs a new direction. I think this group that they've put together right now has maxed out what they're going to do. And like I said, you don't want to be chasing 7, 8, 9, 10 in the conference every year. You either want to be really, really good or really, really bad for a couple of years and then build yourself back up. And I'm tired of this organization chasing their tail.
On the treadmill to mediocrity. But let me ask you this. What's the worst case scenario for you, Gil? We got the best. I want to hear the worst case scenario via your opinion.
Worst case scenario. Lou makes another deal before the deadline. They still don't make the playoffs. The team is out of prospects, out of draft picks, and the rebuild takes 5 to 7 years. And, the late 2020s are just another late 1990s for this organization.
And he throws in on top of it that Bo Horvat doesn't resign and leaves via free.
Yeah,
yeah. Lou Lamoriello stays forever. No, I'm just kidding.
Lou signed a 10-year extension. Yeah.
Funny Boy Curtis says, laughing my ass off. DJ, that other guy you called Jerry Springer, wasn't me. Rolling the floor laughing. So that guy, the anti-censorship, I did think that guy looked kind of, you got to watch out for him. He looked like he was a little vicious.
Like an Antifa guy.
Yeah, but I was about to say, Ponyboy Curtis, he was okay. He's much more friendly, much more docile, much more friendly looking. So sorry, Ponyboy. Sorry there, Jerry Springer. Daniel Friedman, what's up, Daniel? He says, if you're going to retool, a Horvat type of player is part of that process. I don't know. I think that's more of a now thing. If we had a younger pool of players that were currently on the forward group, I would be down for a trade like this. It's just we're an older forward group that just
you didn't need to trade for him. He's a UFA at the end of the year. If you were that confident that he was going to sign here, no one ever does. You just sign him. You're giving up futures. I just can't back up trading futures when you don't have any. It's not like we're a team like Buffalo that's just loaded with young talent, or the Devils, or even the Rangers, who just have a whole bunch of young talent where, okay, we can give away first, we can give away, our top prospect, or, in our organization. We don't have that luxury. And now we don't have anything. It depends on where you are when you make these deals. A team like Carolina, Boston, Tampa, I could see teams like that making those deals, or even Colorado, right? Their time is right now. They're good teams who can be good in the future. This is it for us. We get diminishing returns on our veterans every year. I mean, it's just frustrating.
Well, the thing I will say, to Daniel's point, a player like Horvat can be an asset to a rebuilding team. He's a leader. He would be a little bit older than the younger guys. Now, the Islanders don't have that kind of team yet. But in theory, a Horvat-type player for a rebuilding team could be a good asset to lead that young team from we're young and not very good yet to we're respectable and getting better.
Agreed. We just don't have any young guys.
Yep. As Gil mentioned, yeah. So, oh man.
Wicked 50 Cal says, hey, Daniel Friedman. Yeah, but retooling isn't just buying. It's doing smart selling. Trading bets on oh my God. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to say on expiring food, as TJ has been prone to do. Expiring for good draft picks as well, like the Yankees did in 2016. Exactly right. The Yankees were making up. What did they do? They moved Andrew Miller. They moved Aroldis Chapman. They moved those guys, and they got prospects back. That's what you do. You can do both. I just don't think Lamoriello is capable. And see, that's my biggest issue. If you want him to sell, has he proven that he can sell and get reasonable value? Certainly didn't for Devon Taves.
Speaking about,
what did we get? What happened for Letty? We got a second-round pick for Letty, right?
Yeah, second-round pick.
And didn't Detroit flip him for something more?
Sundstrom and a second.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you see what I mean? It's like, dude, they got a player and a second, and all you got was a second. And he was miserable in Detroit. He was horrible in Detroit, and they got more value than you got.
Because Steve UI is a good general manager.
You just can't do it anymore.
Speaking of expiring, Grumpy, did I want to telling you about the pasta story recently?
No, you're eating expired pasta now.
No, pasta doesn't expire. Well, maybe it does, but I made a meal. I'll paint the picture to you. I made the meal, and it was some pasta. It was like some meatballs, and I was getting to the pasta sauce at the very end. And I had like some old pasta sauce, but it was in the fridge. It's one of those seals where you got to
months. Okay, you can't leave it in there forever. I keep telling you that.
No, the expiration date was like 3 years, so you have time. It's good.
My God.
But I started
3 years. No, it's not 3 years. Anything you put in the refrigerator does not have an expiration date of 3 years. If it's a perishable item, it does not have a 3-year expiration date. Sorry, it does not.
I started pouring some of that pasta. I started pouring some of the pasta sauce in there. And I was like, okay, gotcha. Let me go ahead and grab another one, too, because I had to grab one from the pantry. Well, I started mixing it together, started stirring up, and looked good.
Change colors.
I looked down, and one of the tops of the pasta sauce had like white mold growing there. I was like, son of a bitch. I'm like, how did I not even notice or see that? I had to scrap the entire freaking meal, Grumpy. I was close just to saying, I'm going to heat it up a little further so I can make sure I can eat this meal tonight. So you'll be proud of me. I didn't eat the mold on it, Grumpy. There it is. You'll be proud of me.
How did I not notice? How did you not notice that? Because you're a moron. That's why you didn't notice it. You're a dumbass, and you keep on doing stupid shit like that. It just astounds me. You've always been like that. Always.
I didn't do it though, Grump. I almost did. I didn't though.
What about the time you ate the moldy bread? Remember that? Or the moldy?
I ate around the moldy bread first off, and
dude,
I just
you
took the mold layer off top.
You know what? Stop
TJ,
being cheap.
I almost considered because the mold was on the top. I'm like, maybe the mold spores didn't fall into the sauce.
Is it not true? Is it not true that you bought discount fish this week? That was on expiring deal. It's like a UFA for the Islanders.
I bought Bo Horvat.
It was like Zdeno Chara at the end of last year's contract. Nobody would trade for it. No one wanted anything. TJ took it and he ate it. No one.
I did. I made a trade for an expiring Bo Horvat shrimp meal last night. That's correct. And I cooked it up when I got home to make sure it wouldn't go bad. CJ Grumpy.
Bolduc, Wahlstrom are two parts that could and should be included in a trade for Timo Meier. Let me give you a little bit of background here, Gil. CJ, the Red Lupin Power Ranger, is a big Timo Meier fan. Every single show he comes on here, and he wants Timo Meier. And no matter what, he's always putting deals together to get Timo Meier. So Bolduc, Wahlstrom, and are two parts that could and should be included in a trade for Meier. And if we move Nelson, he should get us a first-round pick. So include that with Bolduc, Wahlstrom, and a 2023 second-round pick. No, CJ, no.
In order to get in order to get Timo Meier, we've got to give up Brock Nelson, Oliver Wahlstrom, Bolduc, and a second-round pick.
That's a first.
Well, the first will come from Nelson, but that's a lot. That's a lot, CJ. That's a lot, my friend.
No, sorry. No.
Patrick Amos says, man, deep draft, schmeep schnaft. He's not too worried about the deep draft, Grumpy. I can't tell if he's messing around. I think Patrick's messing around. But JG says, forget about Wahlstrom. I heard he has a serious hip issue. Okay. Don't like to hear that. Hip issues usually don't bode over well for hockey players. That's for certain. How often do they bounce back? Got a comment here from D-Cut Grumpy. D-Cut.
D-Cut is a member of Isles Misery Rated R. They're a fantastic Facebook fan group page that loves the Islanders. I am an honorary member. I do not have Facebook or any social media presence. I know you're shocked, Gil, but they still took me as a member. TJ hates them because he's got his little glad-handing goofball buddies that he's friends with, but I'm friends with those guys. Because
speak too much negativity about the team.
Where is Brindamore hiding his cups as a coach?
I figured you'd like that one, Grump.
I did. I love that one. You know where he's hiding them? The same place the Islanders are from 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Same place Barry Trotz is hiding his Islanders cups. Anthony Rizzi.
I'm so worried about Lou's next moves. Unless they're bowel movements, then you shouldn't worry.
You got reason to worry, Anthony, unfortunately. Coach Tommy B.
Look at Tommy, really verbose today. He's worked up. Vancouver's top choice was to get Aatu, and that's why when Lou offered him to Vancouver, Vancouver told Boston, Carolina, Jersey, don't bother making a new offer. Now, I don't know how Tommy knows this. We know he's the nighttime janitor.
That's right, Grumpy.
He cleans Lou Lamoriello's office. So supposedly he rumbles around, finds papers or finds stuff that's been written on, and then he does a little sketch on it, on the lead to see what the imprints are, so we can find out what other teams have been offering Lou Lamoriello. So he has a lot of information.
There it is. It's true. Freedom, fun, and adventure.
Chris Botta says Boston wants Mayfield. Prospect pool not great. Mayfield should cost a minimum of first and additional pick, but way more, as he's inexpensive for a cap and proven player form. Absolutely. They should get a first and a second for him. I wouldn't even, honestly, I'm not even looking for a prospect now. Not from Boston.
Let me ask you this. Why, and I'll ask this too to Gil, why would we trade away Scott Mayfield? What would
because
be the
he's on an expiring deal. The same reason why I wanted them to trade him away for the last 2 years.
Why would Lou Lamoriello, who just doubled down on this team, say, why? Okay. Is it an upgrade for us to have Scott Mayfield in the lineup? I'd say yes. I'd say Scott Mayfield's an upgrade over whoever we'd roll out behind him in the depth chart.
Who cares? We're not winning anything.
This general manager thinks we are. This is my point.
Maybe he'll forget that we're in the playoff hunt by the time we start playing games.
Or maybe by the deadline, we won't be in the playoff hunt anymore. We don't know that yet.
That's right. We can only hope.
That could be the only positive. That could be.
So you're positive.
The thing about Mayfield, he only is being paid $1.5 million this year. But when his contract is up, is he going to be worth 2.5, 3, whatever it is that he's going to be able to command? Okay, yeah. And maybe the answer to that, as he gets on the wrong side of 30, is probably not. You trade him now, you get something for him. I don't know if you can get a first for Mayfield even at the deadline, though. I mean, he's a second on a good team, a third pair defenseman.
I think we can absolutely get a first for him. I almost want to say a first for a team that like Boston, a first and a second. Why? Because they're picking 31st, 32nd, whatever they're picking. It's like, that's a type of move that a team like that makes. If you look at whoever thought that who's the guy Tampa Bay picked up? Was it Barclay Goodrow for a first round pick?
Ryan Hagel. Hagel.
No, even before Hagel. Hagel at least is young. They picked up, I think, Barclay Goodrow for a first round pick. They picked up a couple of guys who were, first round picks for those guys. A team like Tampa could do that because that was a niche thing that they needed, and it helped them win 2 Stanley Cups. So you don't look back now and say, boy, we gave up those first round draft picks because they got them cups. That's what Boston should be looking at, something like that, in my opinion.
If you can get a first round pick for Mayfield at the trade deadline, I'd do that twice if I could. Yes.
And the same thing with Varlamov. I think you have to move Varlamov.
I agree. I think they should have moved him last year.
Yep. Realistically, can you even imagine? Realistically, though, Gil, could you imagine Lou Lamoriello trading away Scott Mayfield?
No.
Yep, neither can I.
Should he?
Yeah.
No.
But that's what I say. Realistically, I can't imagine him moving Mayfield. I can't imagine him moving Varlamov. I can't imagine him moving Parise. Those are all guys that are going to be on this team with expiring deals, and maybe we just let them walk at the end of this contract and we get nothing for them.
Or re-sign them for more money and get even less. So,
oh man. Oh.
The one thing about Mayfield, he's a playoff type player.
He is. He is. That's for certain. Danelle said, yeah, I agree. That game between Christmas and New Year's was excellent. That one game. There it is. Doug R. Grumpy.
Lou manages like this is a pyramid scheme and it'll all catch up to him. He might as well be called Bernie Madoff. No one will sign here, so he has to trade for players. Soon all the assets will dry up and there'll be nothing left. What do you think about that, Gil? Think so?
We are too far down that road. That's what I think about that. We're too far down that road.
Do you? Let me ask you this: do you feel defeated too, Gil?
I don't feel defeated, but I'm disappointed. I think there's a fine line. Do I think this team could sneak into the playoffs? Yeah, I still think that's possible. Do I think this team is a legitimate Stanley Cup contender? No. Do I think that the direction Lou Lamoriello is taking this team in right now is the right direction? No. But defeated, okay, we're not the Arizona Coyotes right now. And
I was.
Yeah, that's a different issue. I think there is a way for this team to at least make the playoffs this year and maybe even win a round, possibly. But long term, I don't think this team is headed in the right direction right now.
Somebody did bring up a good point on the last show. They said, you may not have bought a ticket, but we're all in on the making one last run for, a Stanley Cup run. We're all here for it. You may not have wanted it, but unfortunately,
that's not what the comment was. We're all on the train to Crazy Town, but we didn't even buy a ticket.
No, I don't think it was that, but fair enough. Scott L.
Do you see them possibly trading Robin Salo? I think they've given up on him, which would be, honestly, that would be disappointing.
They have given up on Robin Salo.
Was he given a legitimate shot even?
I don't think so, but think about how many guys were brought up over him when they started calling up next defenseman up. Parker Wotherspoon, Samuel Bolduc. Robin Salo's an afterthought.
But for me, he's another guy who's been in North America for what, a year and a half, 2 years now?
Yep.
You gave up on him. So I just don't understand why they give up on a guy like that. Is Parker Wotherspoon better than him? No, he's not. He absolutely is not.
But here's the thing about Salo that I noticed. Salo, you can't put Robin Salo and Sebastian Aho on the team at the same time. If those are two of your top six, you have too many problems in your own zone. And you have a problem with size, you have a problem with defense. You could play one of those guys in any given game, but if you play them both for a team that doesn't score a lot of goals, you're going to give up too many goals. So to me, you either put Salo in the lineup or you put Aho in the lineup, but you can't play them both.
I agree.
And sometimes you can't put them on the ice at the same time.
You never can put them on the ice at the same time.
It was like when they'd roll Andy Green and Zdeno Chara on the ice at the same time last year. We're just kind of like, oh my God, this is bad in the other way. CJ's got another idea.
Bolduc, Ishikov, 2024 first, 2023 second for Timo Meier.
We don't have to get rid of Brock Nelson now. And this is just doubling down on the current team. That's what this would be, Grump.
No.
Jay Grumpy.
Uh-oh. Have fun with Bo Horvat, Islanders fans. Yours truly, a sad Vancouver Canucks fan. Jay Buckle.
Maybe we should be happy, right? Maybe Bo Horvat brings more than any of us would have expected. We got sad Vancouver fans, Grumpy. The Wicked 50 Cal.
LMO, retooling.
In my opinion, no, it's IMO.
Oh,
in my opinion,
IMO, in my opinion, retooling is having a foot in both doors, making a smart buy, a young player that is potentially elite, while making some moves that help you out in the long term.
Yep.
Exactly.
Apollo C, Grump.
TJ, Boston, Carolina, the Rangers are not desperate for a goal scorer like the Islanders are, so that's why Lou made this trade. We are starving for a goal scorer. We were starving. We're still starving for goal scorers.
We were starving. Now we're just really, really hungry.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. And here's the thing. As much as I like him, he's not going to turn the franchise around. He's not, Connor McDavid.
No.
Or Leon Draisaitl or even Steven Stamkos. He's not one of those guys.
But he'll make you better.
Yep.
He'll make you better, and he'll make the power play better, and it certainly can't get too much worse.
It can't get any worse.
Drew L said, breaking news, Tony Cheese. Tony Cheese has been rumored to be found associated with Josh Sills of the Philadelphia Eagles. The guy who was just, I think, arrested based off of some sort of charges.
Rape and kidnapping charges. Kansas City is winning the Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you right now. You can't have a guy arrested on rape and kidnap charges just before the Super Bowl. It will be a distraction. He's a backup, but still, it's a distraction.
It's almost like when Andy
Reid's the NFL being, the benevolent association that they are, they're like, well, we haven't decided if he's able to play the game or not. So I predict he will be playing a week from Sunday.
It's almost like when Andy Reid's kid killed that child and mother when he was drunk driving on the way home from the bars. And
nothing to see here.
It's just like
kill the parents, maim the kid. I mean, how long was it before he got kicked out of the organization? Was it a year?
I thought he coached the damn Super Bowl game.
Oh, he absolutely did. He even stayed with the team for a while. Finally, they're like, no.
Sorry.
I think they got rid of him this yeyear.
I'm pretty sure he's serving time.
Yeah. Well, that's the only reason they let him go. I think they let him go last year. But yeah, it's comical. It's comical.
But Tony Cheese, I'm disappointed that you associate with Josh Sills. But
now, Gil, you have a job?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I assumed you did. I just let's say at your job, you get arrested for raping and kidnapping someone. Do you think they're going to keep you employed? Say, well, you know what? Just let them roll it out for a while.
Doubtful.
I don't know any place that does unless you're working in the NFL or you're with specifically the NFL. That's the one that just continues to be like, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait to see how things transpire. Let's be patient. Tony Cheese says, "Oh no, Drew's been found to be linked with Sandusky.
Oh, not again.
Not again." State of Survival said, "I don't think Lou's rebuilds in Toronto. I don't think Lou rebuilds. In Toronto, the team was already bad. And did he rebuild in Jersey?
No, he destroyed Jersey, and they took away all of his power in Toronto. Yep. They did. They just go sit in the office over there.
Sit in the corner. Don't cause any more
trouble. Make calls to Fredo in Office C.
Dan L. Grumpy.
And my friend, Mr. Baby, look at him. He's depressed. My baby's depressed. Look at him.
Kind of how I'm feeling these days.
Even though not nearly as destructive as the other moves, Lou bringing back Clutter and Martin was absolutely ridiculous. And that's the whole thing, right? You cry, we don't have the money. We're in cap hell. Last year we had $12 million, and somehow we were broke. Stop. We weren't broke. You just can't manage your money, okay? Here's the thing. Every little move you make hurts you in the cap regards, right? Clutterbuck never should have been brought back. Martin never should have been brought back. And here's the thing. Even Parise. All right, you want to bring Parise back. You don't announce the deals until you've made your big moves in the offseason. Then you could say, okay, this is what we want to keep you. This is what we have to offer, yes or no. You sacrifice the lesser elements to bring in a top six forward. He doesn't do that. He doesn't get it. He's a failure. Sorry.
Overpays the bottom six, and then there's not enough money to get the top six that you want to get. The only advantage to Parise is he's playing for the veteran minimum.
Yep. And
the veteran making more than that now.
The vet minimum and the bonus structure, which is $750K. So it could be it's 1.5.
This year he's 1.5 plus the bonus. So last year was 750. This year he doubled it.
Damn.
Here's the thing. I like this comment already. I don't even have to read it really. Ivan D says, "You're right, Grumpy." I like that. This one's starting off good. The team never has been good enough. Closest was in 2020 against the Lightning. Though we're running on heart and hard work was not enough talent. They blew it. What, TJ, do you remember what I said as soon as Lamoriello came in? What I said?
They need to rebuild. We've heard this a million times, Grump.
As soon as they came in, I said, this is the time for a full rebuild. Lou wouldn't take this job. He have to rebuild. Well, gosh, that was 5 years ago. He could have rebuilt the team in 5 years. Now he'd be sitting back all fat, dumb, and happy because he revamped the team. I think that
now it could have made sense to trade away if you had rebuilt. Then you could have traded for guys like Bo Horvat or guys like Timo Meier because your team's nucleus and the team structure would have been a lot younger, so you can bring in older guys.
And I thought the timing was perfect because the Islanders have been down for so long that with Trotz and Lamoriello and the cachet that they had, the fans would have bought in for another rebuild. I firmly believe that.
Brett W. Grumpy.
Jeez. He's got some of those devils on this team. Parise probably want a new contract too. Yeah, he'll get one. Absolutely. But here's the thing. His play really's tailed off. Really tailed off.
Adam K.
Pulak and Pelech deals were hurt in a few years. Not even a few. Maybe a couple.
We're asking them to do too much. We're asking them to do too much under the system.
If it was me and I got a good enough offer for one of them, bye-bye. I'm moving them.
I mean, what do you think about Pulak and Pelech? We've seen them drop off, Gil, but, what are your opinion on them?
Well, look, we saw that the loss of Pelech hurt this team. But overall, you're looking at a situation where they're solid, but they're not outstanding. And they don't give you very much on the offensive side of the game. And I don't think they fit as well into Lane Lambert's system as they did under Barry Trotz. I'll say it that way.
Yep. Agreed there. Christopher C. Grumpy.
Grumpy, please be the GM of the Islanders. This franchise will cruise its way to a cup with you on board. I 100% agree.
Tony Cheese there, Grumpy.
Tony Cheese also bet his girlfriend whilst he was bald and made some oopsies and impregnated her, all while all wild bald bitch. Did he make his girlfriend shave her head?
No, so Drew's making some ball jokes, and Tony Cheese is letting him know, look at what Tony Cheese has done, all while being bald, Grumpy. So, hey, the follically challenge, don't have to feel like you're being put in the corner. D-Cut
says, Parisi works hard for a guy his age. Some people in this country can learn a thing or two from him. Work ethic. It's true. But you know what? He can't keep up. He's got to take a little afternoon siesta.
Lefty all around, Grumpy.
Don't worry, Horvat will give you guys 10 more points at least for the rest of the year. Okay.
I don't know if that's like he's going to say five goals and 5 assists maybe in the next 30 games.
Hold on. So he would give us 10 more points in 30 games. So that means that his wins above replacement is like, let's see. I can't do the math. The math is very
111.
1 out of 3. So it's divided by 3. So let's say 28 wins above replacement. Stop.
Decent. Hall of Fame, baby. Better than the Hall of Fame. He also, Lefty all around does says, I was hard on Horvat yesterday, but I remember seasons past where I didn't even notice him for half the games. That is
like Josh Bailey.
That is worrisome where you got a guy that you trade that for the majority of his career just kind of goes unnoticed. But in a contract season, plays hard. Maybe he does fit right into the cul-de-sac crew, Grumpy.
I don't see him as that type of player.
Who knows? David D. Grump.
Bo is 27 years old, 27 and a half, and has at least 5 good years left before he loses a step or two. We need to add another forward, Tyler Bertuzzi, or Tarasenko, or a similar player. We can do it. JGP still has some value, adding a draft pick and a prospect.
We're not trading any of these players away.
Elliot Friedman thought that maybe, just maybe, Carolina would be in on John Gabriel Pageau.
Why would we be trading away Jean Gabriel Pageau?
He'd succeed in Carolina. That much I can tell you.
Why would we trade him away, though?
Because you got 5 centers right now.
They're going to move Matt Barzal to the wing. So it's going to happen.
Okay.
Because now what are you going to say? If, let's say, you trade Jean Gabriel Pageau, is Brock Nelson going to be a third-line center? Or is Bo Horvat going to be a third-line center? Did we give up our top prospect, and Anthony Beauvillier for a third-line center? When have we done that before? Oh, wait, Jean Gabriel Pageau.
2018.
Justin M. Grumpy.
Before we talk about adding any players, Horvat needs to be signed. Otherwise, we are selling.
I have a feeling you might be a little disappointed, Justin.
I have a feeling tonight's going to be a bad night.
We should be selling if we can't sign Horvat, but will we? That's a different question.
Here's the thing. If they picked up Horvat and sell, I'm still borderline. I'll be borderline okay with it.
I will be too. Even though we'll lose a little bit of value, at least it won't be everything.
Because we're not going to get a draft pick as high as the one that we traded.
Correct.
But he has to resign. He has to resign.
This is just the mastermind plan. Maybe Lou is playing 4D chess, and that's why he protected it. He expects the team to tank, and now when he sells Horvat, maybe we can get a late first-round pick, and our top 12 pick will be protected, so we're going to have 2 picks in the first round. Holy shit. Okay. Lou maybe he's playing 4D chess.
If we would listen to my scenario, we'd already have that.
Oh, explosive
and your own.
We are one piece away.
Explosive diarrhea says we are 1 piece away, guys. Yes, it's called Wayne Gretzky or Bobby Orr.
Or Connor McDavid. Yeah.
There it is. Doug R.
The way you will know if Horvat is serious signing here is if he stays in a hotel the rest of the season or moves to the cul-de-sac. Well, there you go. That's what we need to find people. Is he going to get himself a house or is he going to stay in a hotel? If he stays in a hotel, he's not signing back. I agree.
That's true.
Always follow the real estate, people. Always follow the real estate.
Agar, very good point. I never really thought of it that way. We need to find out where, when you see Bo Horvat and you run up to him for pictures, and you say, hey, where are you staying? How you liking Long Island? Come up a small talk. Where are you staying? If he says the hotel, that's it.
And what's the cutoff date? How long does he have to rent a place in the cul-de-sac?
I think he's got about. You got a place to
trade deadline.
I don't know if he's married. Is he married? Does he have kids?
I don't know. I had to pull this up. If he doesn't, that scares me too.
Because if they don't come with him, if they are not coming with him, he ain't staying either. And I don't know if he's married and has kids or not.
He does have kids. He's got 2 kids.
Okay. If they're staying in Vancouver, yeah, no reason to look for schools down here, peeps.
Well, they could want to finish out the school year up there and then come here afterwards.
Ugh.
Yeah. But remember, my narrative is that he's not resigning, Gil. I never let logic get in the way of a good argument.
There you go.
Send John Bailey to the Watson Hotel.
I'm not sure what hotel that was, but hopefully it made sense.
The Watson Hotel. Tony Cheese says, what'd you have for dinner today, Drew? I don't care what Drew eats for dinner. Cut up hot dogs and ramen with hot sauce and mustard in it. That's a TJ favorite.
It's barbecue sauce, but it was close, Tony Cheese. Justin M. Grumpy,
I want you to do podcasts in a fisherman jersey. You need a shtick. First of all, I have a fisherman's jersey. It's the only jersey I have, but I can't wear it every podcast.
I thought you were about to say you have a stick. It's called being grumpy.
Everyone knows that. Gil, why the F are you asking me about kayaks when I'm talking about knives?
He had posted this like a million times. I assume this has to be a movie reference, right? Why are you? Does this make sense, Grumpy? You're supposed to be the movie Resident Flying Ace here. Is this ringing a bell for you?
It should be ringing a bell with me, but it's not.
Okay. I'll have to check the comments here later. Justin M says,
Gil, how's your brother Matt doing? Gil, do you have a brother named Matt?
No, I do not.
Oh.
Justin, let me just put it to you this way. Gil killed his brother Matt. He's not doing too good anymore. Matter of fact, they had an argument, and they're not even brothers anymore. So that's it. So we've established Gil does not have a brother named Matt, or maybe he does.
I thought Justin knew Gil personally. He was like,
I thought he did
brother
too.
Matt. I did find it odd when Gil was being very quiet. I'm like, Gil, how's your brother? Nick C. Grump.
I've been listening to a lot of other podcasts about the Horvat trade. It seems like the consensus is that Raty was an okay-ish prospect. Is there a chance we're overvaluing him? I don't think so. Okay.
I don't think so either. We saw him live.
Every fan base overrates their prospects. Every single one. Everyone. So were we overrating him? All I can tell you what I saw when I watched him live is he was the best prospect we had.
That's why he's overvalued, because we had such a mediocre, and I'm using that word kindly, prospect pool, that a guy who's most likely a second line center was our number one prospect. And, he's going to be a solid NHLer in my opinion, but he's not going to be, a future Hall of Famer and a 5-time All-Star postseason kind of a thing. But his value to this organization was higher because he was the best we had.
Okay.
Yes.
Gil, very good, Gil. Excellent analysis. Fantastic. Son X just sent me a text. Where they asked about Gil Martin's brother, it would be Matt Martin from the Islanders.
Okay. There you go.
See, now here's the thing. Who do we blame on this? It's TJ.
Why am I being blamed?
Because he selected a comment with no context. There's a shocker. Son X has already upped TJ. TJ is fired. Son X is taking over.
And also,
we all missed it.
Love the show. I missed it too.
We all missed it.
Well, he said because we're just doing selected comments because, like I said, we'd be here for. I mean,
we've got
a billion comments.
18 comments. Sorry, guys. 18 comments left. We're 3 hours in. We're going to be respectful of Grumpy, Gil's, and myself's time. But Rick Rock does say, Gil, love your show. Solid watch every night for me.
Thank you.
Gil's been catching a lot of love.
Hey, that's always good. Patrick H.
Is it possible for Lou to run for governor of New York? Look at who they elected as governor. Anyone could win.
There it is. Lou could Lou make things better there, Grumpy? Scott H.
I really don't think he signs an extension with us. This is a Mike Milbury move. So disappointed. I'm going to tell you something. Scott looks a little scary in that picture.
He does.
Does he not? I mean, look at his eyes, man. They're like.
Well, doesn't he look scared?
No, he looks like
he's got to strangle somebody.
He does, and he's got it from that low angle. It's like almost like Citizen Kane, when Wells shot up at the guy to make him look more menacing when he was in that scene where he's tearing up his character was tearing up the house. Very interesting, Scott. Good selection.
I need to have almost a whereabouts of Bo Horvat and where he is living on almost a daily basis, ladies and gentlemen. I need to know how long he's at the hotel. Did he move into an apartment? Is he, is he finding a house? Is he speaking with realtors?
How old are his kids?
No.
How old are his kids? Because if they're not
they're not of elementary school age. They're really young. They're young.
I mean, hey, I wanted to keep them in the daycare up here or whatever. They tell you a lot of things. If we don't see Mrs. Bo Horvat and little Bo Jr. and Bo Sr. and little Bozella, if they're not there, watch out.
Okay, hold on.
So what, do we do a GoFundMe to have a private eye follow him around? And
I think so. Somebody needs to check that out for us.
I think I'll figure out how old his kids are. I think he's got kids. Rob Grumpy.
Wallstrom and Bolduc don't buy real estate on Long Island.
They're gonna get
Your
moved.
time here is limited.
Oh gosh. Here you go. D-cut, Grump.
Fire TJ, hire Gil. No one ever says hire TJ.
It's fine.
And without TJ, there would be no show. Would not be.
It is what it is. Coach Tommy B.
Can't trade next year's first round pick. The pick to Vancouver is conditional and involves a 2024 first rounder. That's true. But here's the thing. We're not coming in the bottom 12. It's not happening. I don't care. The old man made it where it was, lottery protected. We're not picking that. We're not going to fall that low.
Let
me just put it that way. I'd be stunned if we would in the bottom 12.
They've got a 2 and a 1-year-old. So,
I mean, unless they're like, super geniuses, like the Mensa group, I don't think that, we need to worry about their education at this point in time.
So they should be here. The wife should be here too.
Should be.
Justin, them, Grumpy.
Islanders were voted by players as the bottom 5 least desirable organizations to play for. I don't know when that vote was taking place, but so you're trying to say that coming to the Islanders is almost like a hostage situation. I understand. But then maybe the Stockholm syndrome takes over, like the Stepford Wives or the Stepford Islanders. They, lure you in. Everyone's the same. They all live in the same cul-de-sac. Everyone's the same, doing everything. I see how it's working now. It's all starting to come into focus for me. TJ, do you know anything about the Stepford Wives? Just move on to the next comment. Thank you. D-Cut says,
hoping this makes sense to you too.
Hey, Gil, where's Coop? Who's Coop?
Is there somebody named Coop Martin that we're supposed to know about, like a famous actor? God damn it, Grump. You know what?
It's not my fault. I'm just reading the comments that you put up there.
Usually when I put those
Don't worry,
up,
Son X will embarrass you in another moment saying what Coop is about.
Okay.
Jake, a.k.a. Lou on the landline, says, instead of play with dishonor to get Connor, or this season is a canard to get Bedard, we now have prepare the cul-de-sac to re-sign Bo Horvat.
There it is. There it is. Tony Cheese says, can anybody guess what type of game it is on February the 6th against Philly? I'm guessing Tony Cheese might say it's a must-win game against Philadelphia.
Must-win game against
Tony
Philly.
Cheese. I love it. Brett W. Grumpy.
I'm with you there, TJ. The franchise sure can test your patience.
Defeated. There it is.
Why would you say that? It's only been 40 years.
There you go. It's funny, Gil, because I mentioned, when the Rangers weren't winning cups, we're just about longer than from the 1940 chant.
We're getting there.
The Rangers, and we're just about there. Mike D says, you guys are so negative. Give it until the trade deadline to see where we're at. Support your team through thick and thin. Here's the thing, Mike. You need to listen to this show more because my nickname is Grumpstradamus. I predict everything that's going to happen with this team, and it magically happens. And everyone eventually comes away to my way of thinking. Every single person. You will too. Keep watching. Keep listening. If you want to know what's going to happen with the Islanders in the next 6 months, keep listening. I have the nickname of the curve for a reason. I am the curve. We're not ahead or behind. I am the curve. Thank you.
Free and fun and adventure, Grumpy.
Gil, are you open to trading Pelican Pulak as part of the rebuild? Best thing that can happen is assets acquired and team is in draft lottery.
You know what? I would be open to it if the return is good enough because they need to restock the system. They need to get younger, and you got to give up something to get something. So yes, the answer is yes.
Ooh, Gil, watch out! You're swimming in grumpy waters now.
Yeah.
Watch out!
Bed
and blanket. Bed and blanket. Bed and blanket. What's with the picture there? I got to look at that picture a little bit more. Is that what is? Oh my gosh!
It's like a bridge. The bridge.
One of those bridges. I'm not going on that bridge. Every press conference with Lou is the same. Says nothing but I believe in this team. Obviously, that's not true with this trade. Very interesting. But he did say we're always trying to make the team better. I'm always trying to make the team better.
Frank,
you know how we can make the team better? Retire. Frank from Empire State says, I watch Gil's podcast. He's good. Smart guy.
He's good. He's a smart guy there, Grumpy.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. Hey, I like Gil. I'd never met him before tonight. Seems nice to me.
He agrees a lot of the things we're talking about. So that's always good.
That automatically makes him a good guy in my book. Jason C says, Grumpy is the ultimate Islanders podcaster, a classic. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
Jake K. Grumpy.
Gil is very professional in his approach and tone of voice with his podcast.
There
Look
it is.
At that, man. Professional. What would you say, TJ? What would you say our delivery is? Bombastic?
I'd say bombastic. Yes.
It's funny. You used to be so calm, the voice of reason. People loved you because you were so measured in your delivery.
It used to be, I love TJ and can't stand Grumpy, or I hate Grumpy and I love TJ, can't stand Grumpy, or I can't stand TJ but love Grumpy. It was one or the other, but now it's kind of.
No one ever said they loved TJ. Not even his mother.
Funny.
Nick C says, something I've thought about the last couple of days after Tavares hit his 1,000th game. Did the Islanders win a cup if he stayed?
No.
I'll tell you what, that's an interesting question. It really is. Nick, that's a good question. Think about it, TJ. If he had stayed here, well.
Maybe we'll let Anders Lee walk.
Well, that's it. Who would you rather have, Anders Lee or John Tavares?
No, John Tavares, obviously.
Okay. Who gives a shit if Anders Lee walks?
Well, I'm just saying Anders Lee walks, but
that's the way he skates.
That's addition by subtraction, is my point.
John Tavares had always had the ability. He made players around him better.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Remember I said we were never a contender? If Tavares had stayed, I said we would have been a contender.
The question to me, does Tavares buy into the Barry Trotz system? Does he back check the way Barry Trotz wants him to back check? Does he play that precise positional hockey that Barry Trotz wants him to? If the answer is yes, then I think it's very possible. If the answer is no, then no.
See, I think he would have bought in.
Okay.
I absolutely thought he would have. He back checks for Toronto.
He does.
I mean, I think you know what? Yeah. Now Lou's failure is really complete.
Oh, man. I know, guys. I'm sorry we did not get to go through all the comments.
It's hard. It's hard to get all through all
of them. We're 3 hours in, though. So I want to thank you, first off, Gil, for coming on the show here this evening. And I kind of want you to, what do you want to say before we kind of wrap things up? How are you feeling regarding the Islanders? What do you think is going to happen the remainder of this season?
I think they're going to make a run at a playoff spot. And I think they may even make it with Horvat and whatever other additions that Lou makes before the deadline. My concern is for the long-term health of this team at this point. And, if the right person makes the right moves, they can still salvage that down the line. But my fear is after this year and maybe one more year, that if they don't make those moves, this team could be headed in a very disturbing trajectory.
So what Gil's trying to say is like when a person just about getting ready to die and their last day that seemed, hey, I'm feeling great today. And the next day, they crash and burn and that's it. Bye. That's what he's saying about the team, I think.
I'm hoping it doesn't come to that.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth, Gil, but
I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. I think there's still time to get some medication and fix the problem, but that time is running out.
Yes, it is.
Don't like to hear that. Don't do that. And we do have, sorry, Thomas, I'm getting those there. Oh, sophomoric. I like this one. Coach Tommy B said, how would you describe the show? Sophomoric. Thomas, we see you. We see everybody. Sorry, guys. And thank you there. Felix Crew there for subbing. But Grumpy, what do you want to say before we start wrapping things up here today?
I want to read Fel X's Crew's comment. That was up there. It was a long. Okay, there we go. Look at that picture, man. Is he wearing like a bandana?
Okay, hold on. This is not Chillax, Grumpy. Do you know who this is?
I know it's it says Fel X Crew.
But that's not him. That's from Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, sorry. What the hell do I know? I don't watch Trailer Park Boys. Although I listen to Gil every day, and he's a great middleman. Oh, a great middleman. I don't know. Now, see, I'm going to tell you what, Gil. I don't think being called a middleman is like, I mean, you've had some really great compliments. Calling you middleman? I don't know.
Well, keep reading though.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. Well, here's the thing. I gotta comment as it comes up. When it comes to the negative and the positive, great middleman. Okay, see, there's another. Go ahead. Toot your own horn on how that positive comment is. Good job.
No, keep going. Go ahead.
You guys are hilariously taking the truth. So you get a sub. Well, thank you very much. We'll take all the subs we can get.
Yep. And Stephen V says, hey, Gil, nice to see you're here. I watch your podcast.
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it.
It's a great crossover here. But sorry we didn't get to all the comments. We appreciate everybody who comments in. But Grumpy, what did you want to say before you wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ, the grumpy old man, and Gil Martin.
Gil Martin. That's right, Grumpy. Gil Martin.
Of Locked On Islanders, and give him a listen because, I mean, he's a great guest. And every day you get to listen to him every day. And it's only a half hour.
Yeah. So every day.
Yeah, Monday through Friday. Yep.
Monday through Friday.
Hit the like button, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever, all those things you got to do. And tomorrow, TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, Son X, makes his debut appearance. And I know we're going to be talking about Tom Brady and everything football related. Absolutely. Coming up. But strap in, and TJ's going to get brutalized. I can predict that as well.
Guys, I just do want to say thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Had a great time doing this, and looking forward to having you on my show after you guys get back from your vacation. So Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gil. Thank you, Gil, for being a part of the show, and you too, Grumpy. Thank you for your time both this evening. Thank you, everybody who listened, who commented, who weighed in. Trust me, I know we didn't get to read every comment, but Grumpy and I always stay on late after, and we read the comments kind of over together. And trust me, some of them crack us up. So
yeah, it's true.
We
like one here from Michael Moe. Anyway, my mom said Clutterbuck was a better lover, but Palmieri was a better kisser and massager. See, these are the type of comments we get on this show.
I love them. I love them. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and commenting. We are going to read those all over here after. But thank you so much for your time, you watching the show. Thank you so much, Gil. Thank you so much, Grumpy. We'll see you guys tomorrow, TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We might be having a show this Saturday. Probably will. We definitely will not have a TJ and the Grumpy Old Man Sunday, though. But thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.